So, welcome to session 100 of Starfinder, the Fragments of Eternity. I'm Ryan, the GM. It's the 23rd of August 2021. We were not cancelled yet. And here are the players.
I am first among the players I noticed because I changed my name again.
You say this, but you're always ahead of Nico these days.
Yeah. I've just got used to this at this point, to be honest.
Yeah, to be fair. Yes, I am Colin, and I am playing Lyco Quint, your sneaky spooky space cop coast to coast.
And to be fair, I've got no right being first when my name starts with L, right? Like,
It would be weird.
Was people thinking? Right, hello, I'm Nico, and I'm playing Zora, the best captain.
Alright, I'm Alex, and I'm playing Weird, the android mechanic.
Yes. Also doing a Shatner impression?
Hello, my name is Alex, and I am playing Weird.
An android mechanic. I like that you said Vesk mechanic, that was good.
Vesk?
Oh, I don't know why I said Vest mechanic, right? But sure, why not? Vesk in the brain,
That
man.
might have something to do with you playing a Vesk.
Yeah, your Vesk on the
Maybe.
brain.
Vesk in the brain.
Oh.
Shatner was a bit of a lizard brain as well, to be honest with you, so it's fine.
Yeah.
It works.
Sure.
Hi.
Aye.
I don't know why I said that. Hi,
Hey.
I'm Callum, and I will be playing Zig, the Burning Sun, the mystical space rat who is from the sun on the sun with outer sun. There you go.
What?
Honestly expecting some Christopher Walken when you started that there.
Christopher Walken. My name was Walken.
Oh dear.
Yeah. I don't know,
I've got
like,
down
if
to
anybody's
the-
watching, which is impressive in itself, what did you expect after 100 sessions? Like, it wasn't going to get better? Was it? It was just going to slowly
Like,
spiral
Oh,
into decline?
downhill from here.
What did you
We have
expect? I'm
counted.
Walken.
It's the experience. You've leveled up.
Yeah.
You run 100 sessions, and then all of a sudden everyone is good.
I do feel
Oh, I
like
ate too much.
I've moved away from this screen a lot, mostly because of the annotations that kept getting added to it, but now I realise that I kind of feel like we should have added more annotations to it, just as times went on. You know, the quote-unquote
Quite
main
true.
page.
Quite true.
Because I don't know how much of this is still accurate, right? So, not much of it, to be fair. We're at the Karen, that's no longer on the story. The final hour. These are on the
That's
final
just
hour.
That word
One
around
peg
here.
should be moved to like Triaxis, probably.
So you should be there. Yep. In the sun. The Kiva Lowry.
The sunshine of your love?
It's fine.
Wah, 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 wah.
7 towers there, it's fine. Okay, I think that's... Is there anything else?
It's a very tuneful wah 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 wah.
No. My favourite's still Fuckity Bye with this, though. That's... like, it's glorious.
I am sympathetic to the idea that despite being a very good TV program, it did essentially ruin British swearing forever.
Let's not get too derailed. What do you remember from last time?
Dragon.
The university guy is a dick. And trying to remember what it's called. Was it maybe this was a session before, I can't remember. But wasn't Zig the captain and people heading to like the Cultures Institute or something? Deep Cultures Institute, yeah. That one.
We went to your place to go speak to. Maybe this is the session before that. I don't know. Like, but the last thing I remember is got to go see Mr. Radiant Supreme and like to give him back the egg. But it turns out that we just left with an egg.
Swap.
We didn't give back
Yeah.
an egg.
Swapped eggs, right? You drop an egg, you pick up an egg.
yeah.
It's
We
the
done an
exchange.
Same egg.
Yes, the exchange.
Yes, we done an egg exchange.
How was that not our session title?
Welcome to the Solar Exchange.
Yeah, Solar Exchange. And then
Can we change the
what
last?
did we do after that? About info gathering before we leave? Is that what's happening? I can't remember. I think that's what was happening, but I can't actually
So we're getting
remember.
information for a thing for
So
reasons.
for session 98 was called Talking Therapy, remember, because of the hypnotist guy. And
He was great.
had you guys get to the sun, and you had we chat with like Thanida briefly, and then you got Query, and you headed to the Solar Monastery. Then session 99. What will be better feedback there, Nico?
Oh no.
It's okay, just hopefully mute and it'll all solve itself. No? Nope. Still no. Mute on Discord.
Okay.
Mute and unmute there.
Do you mean Discord? I wish I had
Haha.
a cord.
Which god is that? Yeah, I get it.
Wahaha.
There we go.
Sorry.
Secret one.
Okay.
Been a
No, we're
long
good.
day.
We're good, Nico. That works. Discord muting works. There you go. So yeah. Then we had session 99 called White Blossom, because, well, that was a big bit of the episode. Wonderful intrigue storyline. And you guys were at the sun. You've traded eggs. You've got some story about some timelines as well. Do you remember that? That sounds like a yes. A confident yes. I like it.
I'm going to say no.
That was
but
confident, yes.
I have memories that I think I passed out during that session.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh,
sheer
that's right,
exhaustion.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was so long ago.
It was a while ago. It was the
I am
nin-
so
It
sorry.
was the 19th of July.
I have slept
Wow.
just once since then, so hopefully
Yeah.
it'll be better.
Hopefully, yeah. Yeah. So
It's a slow feedback.
I don't know. No, we're good so far. So
Right.
yeah. Anything else you remember, Nico?
Not really. To be honest with you, actually, it was a struggle to even remember what the last session was. I do remember. I also remember like the exchange, but I can't actually remember what we were doing after the exchange.
We're researching that. We're trying to find stuff about the thingy egg, weren't we? The hingme egg,
The
the
rad
rad egg.
egg.
The rad,
Yeah,
Daza
yeah,
egg.
yeah.
Yeah.
The rad egg, and we're going to try to look up stuff about Daza to see like if there's any sort of anything referencing the egg that's there, and if it's like how it's being powering stuff and stuff.
Oh, that's right. We need to go retrieve the rad egg. I forgot about that. That's one new mission, is to go retrieve the rad egg. Yeah, I forgot about that part. Yeah. Because apparently we're now the fucking like the chickens that need to like or something like that need to sit on the eggs, like, you know, like
The
something bang there.
foxes in the hen house.
That's-
Like, would you?
I don't know. We're fucking egg kidnappers, right? Well, apparently we're the egg nappers now. Like, we've got to go steal all our Gracie's babies.
Oh my
You're the resident
God.
egg species here, so I will defer to you.
I want a fucking pet cosmic dragon out of this, Ryan. Like, there better be fucking cosmic dragons coming to eat these eggs, and they better be cute.
Oh dear. Do you remember the artwork for the Great
I do. Yeah.
Me
The
too.
GGW.
Looking adorable as shit.
The one thing I'm struggling to remember is what we are doing, what we're going to do or have done
Same,
with
same.
the egg that we've got, that we've taken.
You have that in the crate, going with it somewhere, and Query is pushing that crate. That's what I remember,
Oh yes.
because Query's with you guys now. And
We raptors.
yeah, do you remember as well that you had
I don't know why that tickled me.
God, why can't I think
Dinosaur.
of what the fuck's her name? Demadvin? Yeah.
Oh yeah, she's stealing everything out of the garden.
Yeah, she went on a wee wander to the gardens.
The mole, you mean?
Oh,
Yes,
that's right. That's right. The Madvin's a fucking mole. I mean, that isn't really a surprise.
I saw that
but,
coming though.
like,
That was-
we kind of walked straight into that, to be honest. I mean, we,
I actively invited it when we
Yeah.
exactly.
I was like, yeah, there's definitely another ship to that somewhere. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so Demadvin seemed to be in contact with somebody that was interested in the party for some reason.
probably
Everyone's interested in
Demigesh.
this now. We're very interesting.
To be fair, yeah.
Or Matva. I don't think Demigesh or Matva, right? But it's probably Demigesh who was contacting, right?
I mean, it's probably the safer money, right?
I mean, but she could be a spy, right? I mean, a spy of a spy, double agent.
Mm-hmm. You could use that to your advantage, Nico, right? If you turn her.
I mean, I'm a double agent. I'm a triple agent.
Yeah. I don't even know anymore, Nico. Right? Like the
I'm a spy
layers.
of the spy of the spy.
It's like, okay, so it's Section 31's infiltrated the Tal Shiar, posing as the Obsidian Order now. I think that's where we're at with you. Yeah.
That's pretty much what's going on. If it works.
Okay, and do you remember anything else potentially relevant? Like,
What happened to Collins again?
yeah,
Side again?
that's what I was gonna say. Like, what was all the dragon
Well,
stuff?
I met a man who was a dragon man,
Dragon.
and we
Man.
talked about various things that I can somewhat remember, and then I recall saying something about like the timeline hijinks that had been ongoing, and then sort of said, "Ah, now we're playing with a loaded gas." That's the phrase, right? And
No.
and invited me over to stay so we could talk further.
Yeah,
Now
he
we're
did.
playing with loaded gas.
That's a common thing. It's
No,
an
it is.
Albany expression.
Is it?
North Haverbrook, yeah. Fucking hell. Yeah, sure, why not? Actually, just why not? So yeah, we had that. That's for sure. Yep, those all definitely happened. There were some interesting things. You did bring up some Vesk-related shenanigans with him that he didn't seem to know much about, which was interesting as well.
What I mentioned the presence of Vesk on that ship. But I'm trying to recall.
Yeah. So you and him had a good chat. You talked about some interesting stuff about how Aspis seemed to be involved in something that involved the Vesk and maybe the Bone Sages and blah blah blah. And a lot of that seemed quite
Yeah, right, okay.
like at least intriguing to him. I feel like that was more your loaded gas
Okay.
point than anything else. Yeah.
But I thought the last thing I said to him that prompted that response was about the
About the what?
was that not the last comment I made about the time stuff, timey-wimey?
It might have been. Yeah. I feel like you said a lot to him that was probably of interest to him.
Oh, it did, yeah.
Yeah.
So that seemed to be what triggered it, at least in terms of how I recall it.
Yeah. So, yeah, let's have a look at goals. I already jumped back to the goals page in the tracker. Nico, what's your goal? For Zora.
That's my goal.
You're muted.
That's a thing.
Yeah.
That's a thing. The game manager is a thing.
Mhm.
Discover the whereabouts of Matva.
And Lego.
My goal, I'm adjusting my piercing, sorry. My goal is to clarify the Shekos situation with Van Halen and or Babak. And I know it just says Halen or whatever.
Yeah,
but
it's
Van
Helen.
Halen
Yeah,
is-
Dr. Helen.
It's a name that I keep on forgetting, the band that I keep on forgetting the name of the vocalist of.
And Weird.
Dave Lee Roth.
I need to establish
you.
my small business.
And Zig.
Family reunion.
David Lee
Or reunite the drag queens.
with David Lee.
And
With David Lee Roth.
And what's all the general
I like
goals?
that goal.
Use CC to gain dragon info related to new station. Convince suitable person to retrieve Daza egg. Conclude the Kilari case. Retrieve info on Daza and the repercussions of the egg's removal. And create multi-dimensional null space chambers for the crew.
I love that. Right, so just as a goal list, it fully encapsulates the scope of the game.
I could have just read that first and understood where we were at.
It's like, oh, we'll use CC to gain dragon info, right? That makes sense, right? Look, we're role playing. It's probably D&D. And then
Oh
get
wait,
to-
sorry, it's multi-destinational.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's close enough. It's close
Null
enough.
space chambers.
Yeah. That's fine. Same diff.
In question mark brackets, of course,
Of
because
course.
I'm pretty sure I made up a word when I made that, but it's fine. It's a new invention, so I get to make up a word as well.
Right, this is it. That's how it works. Yep, that's how it works. Yeah. Okay. So, Michael,
Michael.
you're anything you're doing before you prep for dinner? Mr. White
I suppose I will. If I'm provided accommodation, I will park my guns in it, and I don't know, maybe leave off a few of the more outwardly spooky-looking parts of armor.
Okay.
But other than that, you know, I think he's pretty much attending it as is. He didn't bring a change of clothes.
Okay. I think you'll probably find that there are like in the room that you're kind of seen to. There will be like optional clothing that is there, so you can dress for dinner if you would. Do that.
How does the optional clothing look?
Probably very similar to the kind of very Oriental vibed, or I guess just in general Asian vibed decor that this place exudes.
Okay, so are you talking about like a kimono or
Kind of more
something?
Chinesey vibed and less Japanesey
Okay.
vibed. Yeah, it's almost like silk, almost very, very trim silk suits with like bits of nice floral decor on bits of them and things like that.
Okay, you know what? I think he will wear like yeah, like a suit jacket or something.
Yeah.
If there's a suitable such thing.
See if I can get an image.
Just that,
to give you-
just maybe like a basic shirt suit jacket combo. You should probably also wear some trousers with that, I think, yeah.
Probably.
Like
Probably.
I'm imagining he's dressed like Dr. No, even though Dr.
was-
No's
do
clothes
you know-
aren't at all Asian.
I was gonna say, weirdly, the images I was about to share with you have a similar vibe to them.
Oh, show them,
Yeah.
show them,
In
please.
fact, Dr. No is supposed to be Asian, just
Yeah, he's
a
not-
white man in yellow face.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's-
but the thing is,
it's
he
bad.
doesn't even dress in like particularly Asian-looking clothing. He's just got like one of those, what are they called, collars, which, as far as I know, can be worn by anyone.
Um,
A lot of yellow face in the early Bond,
yeah, it's not great.
including by Bond himself.
I was talking recently about the fact that, yeah, something like the middle one, maybe something.
There's more.
I was talking about recently about the fact that Fu Manchu was played by Christopher Lee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, bottom center is the second one. Yeah, that's probably more like it.
Okay. Just imagine it a bit more silks. a
I'd
bit
describe this aesthetic as business Asian.
more. Sure, that works. Business casual
I was
Asian.
about to say Bayesian, but that just makes it sound a bit.
That's probably already a thing.
I was gonna say,
yeah.
it sounds more Middle Eastern than anything else, based on the colloquials.
Isn't it a school of economics?
Could be.
Bayesian. No, Bayesian is a school of mathematics.
Mathematics?
Bayesian is it's of Thomas Bayes, a theologian come mathematician who
I see.
developed the kind of the grounding thought about conditional probability.
Okay.
And it's very
Something that I'm even more bewildered by than economics.
economists and lots of other fields of science and social science are starting to adopt a more Bayesian approach in how they develop their models and how they
Who could even have predicted this though?
evaluate their models. Yeah, I'm quite a fan of Bayesian mathematics,
Mhm.
if you couldn't tell. And I will be taking questions after the show.
Yeah, and also if anybody watching has questions for Alex, put them in the comment section for us to suitably ignore, or perhaps answer in years to come when we remember this was a thing we did. Thank you.
I promise you, I will not understand your question.
Like on purpose. Yeah.
I'm
No,
gonna
I don't.
read
I don't need to
some
try not to
stuff
understand.
after the game. Just
Mhm.
bookmarking some.
So yeah, like, so even though it looks relatively like simple but very, very expensively tailored clothing that is provided, in like the kind of wardrobes that you're kind of in the room of, and the wardrobe doors are left open, so it's obvious that this is at your disposal. And as I said, like, see, like the detailing on the last picture I put in as well. It's like there's simple detailing on it, just to kind of, you know, knock it up to almost that casual, somewhere between casual and formal, rather than the business vibe to it.
On the casual formal axis, it's a little along towards the formal side, and then the casual Asian axis, it's a little.
Yeah, sure, all of that.
Axis says
So, you dress. Is there anything you want to do before dinner while you're there? Contact anyone? I don't know. Hide guns around his huge castle.
There would be no point in that.
Yeah, like for the most part, like you're not under guard. The room door wasn't closed on you. You could probably take the doors off their hinges if you had to. They're not. It's everything's very again fairly open here. You haven't seen like an abundance of guests, but there are a lot of like staff at least, attending to things around the place. But nobody is like making themselves. Nobody's coming past your door and like saying hi or like giggling and looking around the corner or bullshit like that. You definitely seem to be in like a bit of an isolated wing, as it were.
I think all he'll do is make like a very, very simple, very sort of fulfills like message to. I don't know. I don't even need to. Am I still mind linked?
I believe so. That should
Yeah.
still be in play.
Yeah, I will. I will at an appropriate point in the story connect with the group then and announce my location and dinner plans.
Okay.
I'll do that in character if you wish.
Please.
Yeah. Obviously, I don't know how that would work timeline wise, but
It's just when they're in travel, right?
Yeah.
In fact, no.
I'm,
I can't remember how long did you
I'm
take to get to the sun. Sorry, how long did you take to get there? It should be somewhere in our chat. It's not like we do that much with dice. Let's see. Excuse me, if I can quickly scroll up and have a look.
5 days? 2 days to the sun, sorry.
Yeah, so if it was 2 days to the sun, you've been here for a couple of days, haven't you? Like, this is probably day 2 for you, is it not? At least.
it's certainly at least the second day. I think
Yeah, so maybe
I think it's the second.
let's just say that they're in orbit around the sun when you're phoning, so they've not actually went down yet. Or in fact, guys, do you want to be at the stage where you have experienced all of the solar monastery stuff yet, and then that way you can just update him completely? Would that be better for you? I think that's better, right?
Maybe as we're leaving the monastery.
Yeah, like the Madvin's just left you guys, and you just get the Lyco phone call. Yeah, the brain call. I think that makes more sense. It gives you more to work with conversationally.
Remind me, what's Mr. Senbin name again?
White Blossom.
White Blossom, thank you.
Yeah.
Zagara.
This is so weird. Like, how do you introduce your message to a group of people who are like
Psychic
have
yeah.
a solar system away? Yeah.
Are you awake? Hello. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess would I know if they were? Probably not.
I doubt it. Yeah.
I think he will announce himself because he doesn't know what to expect the way he would do if he was like calling. So went here. Who's thinking?
It's a bit like oldie radio like etiquette, isn't it?
Yeah, like identify
Thoughts
yourself.
received, over.
Yeah.
Oh God, that's over. Yeah.
You're loud and clear, bro.
Where has that character been my entire life, Nico?
What, Hulk Hogan?
Yeah.
Yeah, brother.
Why wasn't that the captain of this fucking ship?
Yeah. So does anyone receive my hails?
I've loud and clear, brother.
Who's all in the link as well? So that's all
yeah.
of you
I
guys.
shall tell. I think it's all of us,
Yeah.
and it is also Alice.
Okay.
Line comms.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also Cindy. Okay.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, he's just like always kind of
Okay.
in, isn't he? He's in if
Yeah.
he wants to be. Like he can leave if he wants. It's kind of like upsetting, isn't it?
I'm
I mean-
having a meeting with a Mr. White Blossom, who you probably recall better as the White Dragon. I do not know what to expect, but I thought I'd better give everyone a little notice of that, just in case anything turns up.
White Blossom.
Yeah, was Zig there? Zig was there, right?
Was he?
I am.
Was Zig there?
Let's just double check our timeline. To the session tracker. Ba-la-la-la-la.
Woohoo!
So you, yeah, you should have been here, right? Because you joined.
Oh, okay.
You joined for chapter 2, I think.
That's right. Yeah. It
Because Drift and Spin was
was
their way
hard to.
back. I think session 7. I think is when you joined. I think.
Yes.
Because I think you listened in
I was
for
present
6.
for 6,
Mhm.
and I joined 7.
Yeah, and
That's right.
they're referencing 10 and 11.
Ah, yeah, but did we know? Does Zig know that he's called White Blossom as well?
No.
No, but I mentioned he was a dragon.
No.
Oh, sorry, I completely.
Dragon.
No, so,
missed you
like,
saying that.
yeah,
That's
like-
fine.
Lyco's exact dialogue there was, so I've been speaking to a guy called Mr. White Blossom who you may know better as the White Dragon that we met.
Oh, okay, right. I missed the end part.
It's okay.
Sorry.
That's okay. We'll just summarize that for now. Yep. There we go.
Yeah. So yeah, like,
Then, yes.
what's your situation?
We've
After you. Your speed.
well, we've dropped off the egg with the Radiant Supreme, and we've picked up another egg. Well, the same egg, but from a different time. So there's that. And I think we need to try and get the Daz egg sooner than later.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think Lyco was just looking sort of blankly ahead.
Mm.
And what do we think? What's the goal? What are we gonna achieve
Well,
here?
one of the solar eggs from one of the presumably the furthest along, it seems like it's going to hatch soon. So that doesn't seem great. Or it does seem great. I'm not sure what the ramifications of that is, actually.
Okay.
It's a good point. And there was something else that I've forgotten. There was something about there was something about the void egg that the Radiant Supreme said, and I can't remember what it is.
Hmm.
Ah.
I'm trying to think
Oh well.
what any of the information that was said now. Fucking hell. I remember you asked about it. Because I remember having to clarify that You were confusing the solar egg and the void egg at one point because you thought
Yes.
Nix 5 or one of the Nixes had experienced the solar egg before, but he hadn't. It was the void egg. I remember clarifying that because it was Grace and I believe I did name drop him finally. Cleric. Grace and Cleric. With Nix, it seems. And Escape delivering into the vault the void egg. Some unknown time ago. So I remember that much. Beyond that, I don't.
Yeah.
It's
Regardless.
okay. If it comes up,
I think
we can go back over it.
We're just heading off to find some information about Daza and the ramifications of removing its, power source.
Yeah, that seems like it could be pretty catastrophic for the place. Might reduce the cancer rate, though, I guess. So
I think eventually you
is
see
it
her.
radiation?
You see her
No?
eventually. Alice, kind of mentally clear her throat, and she goes, are we blowing up things, or not? I thought we were gonna try less of that. No. Like, I thought we wanted less eggs.
I mean, so did I. But apparently, Destiny calls or some malarkey like that.
Fever.
Fever. Yeah. Alice goes quiet.
Don't go quiet on me.
I guess if I have any pertinent information, I will share it. But I don't know how much I'm going to find here that's relevant to the eggs. Who knows? Good luck with those, I guess.
Why did you call? Alice eventually perks up.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, I didn't really call. I just thought. And just to give people a heads up that I was going to a situation where I'm not sure how it'll evolve.
How did Cece get on with the shuttle?
Fine so far. Should still be in it.
Oh,
There's been some sort of trace on us. He was working in that, but he may have found other things to work on instead. Who knows? Dragon definitely seems to want us off world soon rather than later. So tell you that much.
well, he's buying you dinner first, though.
Well, he stopped taking me out for dinner. He had some of the goons come and fetch me, and I'm now at his. It feels unkind to describe it as a lair.
You could describe it as a state if you wanted.
Yeah, that is exactly what he's going to call it, but because a dragon, yeah, he's like, it's more of a palatial estate.
Have you found his hoard?
I imagine a lot of it is not in liquid assets.
The development of intergalactic banking really has undermined the delightful imagery of the dragon.
The traditional dragon aesthetic. I can't sit in these stocks.
Just sits on the stock managers instead. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm in favour of that.
Yeah.
Just like 4 cards. It's like, I assure you, it's worth more than any hoard you've ever seen.
This is a data pad. A very broken screened data pad. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so I thought I'd clue you all in just in case this goes south. I don't imagine it will, but when powerful
Just-
people are interested in you, it's always worth keeping in mind that it might not be for a good reason.
Hmm.
Or a
Just-
reason that's... Sorry.
I was just gonna say, just be careful.
Yeah, see, it's like, you know,
Except as Jake, as Zig. Just be careful.
how dare you? Yeah, I think Lyco would just nod, which you can't see, and say, "Oh, you know, I always am, kid," which is entirely untrue.
I was going to say, yeah, I was debating whether or not I'm going to have Alice laugh at that or not, and I thought I'm not going to interrupt the moment, but...
Lyco's self-aware enough to know that that's pretty much bullshit, but he's usually at least a bit sneaky. Which
I wish that
surprises
was the
me
side
compared to
effect
close
of
enough.
this link, was that it was like you always had, like you would tell if lies were told would be funnier if it was a side effect of the link. It's just like at the end of a statement.
See, I like that idea, but the problem is that depending on like the specifics, that could either be hugely disadvantageous or hugely advantageous.
Yeah.
It would be really powerful, but it's like a default communication thing. A bit much.
Anyway, for a balance, if you were going to design that, you'd just make it limited to the party, right? You wouldn't have it as something you could inflict upon other people.
Yeah, but then you'd have awkward things like, oh, why wouldn't you mind link with the rest of the party? How dare you? I think like.
And you just go, actually, because in the rulebook under the poison rules it says I can't because my creature type isn't ally.
Yeah.
Wait, he's the betrayer the whole time? Yeah.
My creature type is betrayer.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm a level 3 betrayer.
Sounds good, doesn't it? So yeah, pass down the betrayer line.
Yeah, like my legend reaction is betray.
My at will is betray. My legend reactions betray. Yep, got a +5 to backstab.
Father before him was a betrayal.
Ironically, Illidan actually doesn't have that. Instead, he has a +5 to edgy speeches.
Yeah. So, anybody else saying anything else during the mind exchange? Captain, anything you're throwing in, Admiral?
Has it to throw in? Is it? Nah, it's been covered.
I've also,
It's been
just
covered.
as an aside for you there, Nico, that I've been reading through the Homecoming novel, which is a set after Voyager Season 7, when they get home. No spoilers. But they promote Janeway to Admiral, and everybody refers to her as Captain Admiral Catherine.
Captain Admiral.
It's good.
That is a nice little bit.
Yeah.
Thinking.
It's good. It is good. Yep, Admiral Catherine. Yep. Yep, it's good. I like it. Sorry, please continue. Anything you're adding to the?
Nah, everything's been covered properly. I think. I don't
Why
think
is none of you asking
Stop
Lyko if he can think of anyone that can retrieve the egg from?
Lyko, do you think of any? Can you like egg retrieval?
What Ryan said.
Mind link.
If they actually ask that.
Yeah. So does somebody want to throw that in, or you don't need to? I'm just saying. I'm surprised you
I'll let the
haven't.
captain do that. I think there was
Just looking
something
at
in my
your
brain that was-
goals page, that list of things you just want to
yeah.
achieve. Yeah.
I think I mentally said that to myself and just assumed I'd.
It's brain linked with myself.
To be fair, I
I
could buy
was role
that.
playing the telepathic
now
link too
don't
hard.
mind.
Yeah. Hey, if you can't with yourself, why not? Right? To anyone else. So yeah, it makes sense. In that it doesn't. So yeah, Captain, you dealing with that? Is Zig dealing with that? Is Weird dealing with that? Or
No, we were just pointing out the minor issues in conversation. Nothing useful.
Okay.
Don't suppose you know any deed people that can deed people don't need to worry about radiation, right? I'll just say in my head in the most Zora way possible.
Well, I do. So
Well, that's unfortunate.
you could ask Sindel,
Freeze, isn't it?
but
mean-
something tells me that in his current condition, he'll be as vulnerable.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I mean,
Uh,
what about Edgar? If he survives.
I mean, but,
I love the idea that you would just have like an explosion in the background of where Lyco is, just out the window in the distance. Like that'd be funny.
How is that gone? Actually, is he's still alive, right?
No idea. I have maintained absolutely zero contact.
Oh,
Told you, I'm playing it quiet, Captain.
maybe we should have helped him. I would mumble to myself
I mean, do
in
you
the
want to
real life
link
place.
minds with whatever the fuck he is again?
Was that how you asked there, Colin?
Do you want to link minds with whatever the fuck he is?
That's
I
valid.
Lyco would probably have remembered the term, which is Breervath,
Breervath, yeah. Mm-hmm.
but also Lyco would probably still just say whatever the fuck he is.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. For my brain was like, did he ask me a question there? Like, was he looking for info, like the word Breervath?
No, that was
okay.
just Lyco
Cool.
being
Good.
vague about, the vague creature.
I was also telling Tom in chat briefly that he was like, oh, I like the map. I'm like, it's above the surface of the sun, and welcome.
Oh, hello, Tom. If it is Tom.
It probably is, unless someone's got his account.
Well, good. Yeah. So I think that's Lyco's input on that.
Yeah. We need like obviously someone to pick up the void egg. The not
I
void egg.
mean, if you're, I think you're on the right track in terms of asking like an undead being of some sort. But I think that Sindiel has rendered himself somewhat more vulnerable to that sort of thing by taking on one of my kind's sort of aspect. He isn't the only. He's probably not the only. I don't want to say bone sage because I don't mean bone sage. I want to say like
Eoxian?
Yeah, would I just say Eoxian? I would just say Eoxian.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't I? Yeah, probably not the only Eoxian who would be happy to throw a spanner in the works of the Elibrian, though. Maybe you can use him to find someone who'd be sympathetic to our goals. I mean, maybe he can already hear this, right? He's in the link, right?
There is no, like, while everybody maybe, like, does a shot of everybody's face where their eyes are moving, like, side to side, waiting to hear if he's gonna speak, there's nothing.
Yeah, like cuts to the eyes, yeah.
No, there is no Sindel input on this conversation.
There will be others out there that can.
Yeah,
It's just a case
my
of how you get
original
them.
shortlist was Edgar.
Wait, you're in the sun, right?
Yes.
So isn't the sun pretty intense with the radiation itself?
Well, see, the
I am not going to
whatever it's
understand
called.
whatever the explanation is, but is there a way you can use whatever they're doing to protect yourself or bring someone else who can?
They won't let me play with their shield generators.
Yeah. The Burning Archipelago?
Archipelago, yeah.
That's the one, Archipelago. I had to look up what it was called. I kept forgetting. Yeah, they're... Well, that's the Solar University guys are a wee bit...
Precious.
Yeah.
I see. I can understand why they might be less than eager to allow any sort of interference with their, life-preserving shielding, but...
Yeah. In fairness, I don't think any of them actually know how it happened. I don't think anyone really knows.
Are there any beings on the sun that are resistant to its energies? Like, is there anyone that would be sent outside the shooting at any time for any reason?
Zig, to your knowledge, that's never been a thing.
Yeah, never. I assumed not. No, not that I've ever heard or seen, or you don't leave the bubbles.
Okay. Then I'm kind of back to square one. If you have anyone or anything you can think of that could render itself temporarily resistant to that sort of magics, not magics. Well, it is magic, but it's radiation. I mean, that's pretty natural. So I would just say energy, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. Resistant to the kind of energy output, then that's, I mean, it's better than nothing. At least gives you a shot.
Hmm.
Is there anyone I should be able to think of that I haven't? I don't know. That
For the party in general, right? Just in general, you've already thought of like people that are weird with radiation, like Edgar. He's already have mused about MO, and you're full of unknowledge about her that you've decided to weaponize for utility. You've also got, remember, SK had her mech suit that was resistant to the radiation, hence why she's followed you and all the way to Ramasethu's ship.
That's true.
I guess Ramasethu, right? If we're going with sympathetic
Yeah.
bone sages, right?
I did mention other Eox.
Yeah, no.
I don't think we're going to easily get a.
Because remember, they took over as leader of the bone sages, if you recall.
Yeah.
Because Sindail obviously technically isn't a bone sage, so you're right on the money with like what Lyko would feel about like Sindail's condition. Like if you couldn't survive it before, it's unlikely he will now.
Yes.
Yeah, he's definitely taken a step to the side and possibly down quite a bit in capability. Compared to bone sages. Exactly. Yep. Beyond that, I'm trying to think if there's anybody else. Maybe the sheer layers of grease on Bob would protect him.
Yeah, I love it.
Much that,
a good diet plan for
Yeah.
Almost lead-like structure.
We could send Thenida in.
Yeah, there's Thenida.
just hope that sheer rage will allow her to ignore.
Yeah. It's the fallout after that, no pun intended, that you have to deal with. Somebody's suited enough, right? Like well enough protected with enough tech, probably.
I'm on it.
Right? Like, don't
I
imagine.
feel like weird probably is the best answer, actually.
And
Maybe.
I meant I was on the problem, I was not the solution. Yeah. So yeah, there is definitely options that way. Like
An
tech,
egg retrieval bomb.
like don't know, there might be, I don't know the entire spell list as well as I know other systems. In this one, there might be like total protection from radiation spells in this system. In which case, any high level
Let me check
caster.
my character sheet.
God. So any high level caster might have a move that lets them do that, right? As well. So there's that, besides natural abilities that is. So you've got tech options, magic options, most likely. It'd be weird if there wasn't magic options given how prevalent radiation is in the system. Yeah. Arguably CC's mech project was radiation proof, possibly. I say arguably because it would make sense he would protect himself from space radiations. It just doesn't necessarily mean he did it. Especially if the engine was testable and you could jump drive anywhere. I don't know. Any other NPCs people can think of? Obviously people like, what'd you call them? Sparks, definitely not.
Yeah, go for Spark. See if you can find them in that alleyway still.
Morty, definitely not.
You say we could send Morty in. I wouldn't say no.
I mean,
I feel like I would say no as the
if you could
GM.
find someone sufficiently underpaid and desperate, sure, that's an option.
Capitalism solves the problem again.
I'm not sure they'd be able to actually get to it, but
Yeah. Also, no, Tom. You leave Sarah alone. She's in a different game.
yeah, she's not here.
Yeah. I think who else? Who else do you know? These have
I'm just gonna
good
post
relations
this
with.
thing just so I can read it properly.
I can. Nothing's coming to mind, but then I am not really.
Character sheet seems a bit
Sorry.
jank.
I am racking my brains to get basic info at this point.
Yeah.
Nah, the only other thing that I could really think that could maybe even follow radiation like that, maybe like Ramasefu or something, but that's about it really.
That's what we
But I
said.
don't think Ramasefu is
Yeah.
going to like dive in and help, right? I mean,
I think that was our list, right? So if I type in, let's use Roll20's actual chat here. So we've got Rama Sethu is on the list, definitely, right? One of the most powerful people you know, quite frankly. You think Edgar, MO,
Equilibrium.
Librin. Do you know anybody else with an E? Do you know anybody else with an E name?
Um,
I don't even know if that's how you spell it, Librin. I'll just give him his actual name. What else we got? So Ramasethu, Edgar, Mao, Urgalas, the Librin, and what else did we say there? Did we say have other people? Okay, so we've put in Thanaida, which is a terrible idea, but we'll add her in anyway because she has survived radiation before. It was just really, really bad for her. So, which
I mean, she survived sort of fairly limited exposure compared to actually going to the source and picking it up.
which means arguably Lantoral.
200 Soviet miners.
Yeah.
So arguably our sister Lantoral would have similar chances.
Or just like get like a batch of drow, give them some rad drugs.
Oh god.
No, but seriously, that if they are that resistance, it's not like drow queens aren't like some sort of like
Yeah, it's not hive.
superior
Yeah.
organism. They're still just drow.
Are they not? I assume the drow would be on eugenics.
I mean, let's not get too deep into that. Right, let's just try and get a list, shall we? Oh wait. So
How's the Radiant Supreme with the radiation?
I don't think he's super hot on it, to be honest.
Hey.
He's just like
I think Zig watched like fire kill him. So
God, what is he good for?
absolutely nothing.
Say it again.
And he did several times in different timelines.
Yeah.
And he did send Zig back to you guys, saying that he wasn't supposed to be there then. So
and
yeah,
against radiation, fire, and salt.
yeah. Mostly the salt's the worst.
It burns.
So yeah, I don't think Clerg is on the list, sadly. Yeah, I'm trying to think of other people you know as well.
Like click thing.
There's obviously a lot of people that just wouldn't be, but also a lot of people that are dead now. Too. So I guess S-Kate gets a mention for her suit, and that's 50-50.
Honestly, I'm starting to think the answer is have weird, engineer a solution.
Oh, no.
Yep.
Oops. I just can't. Weird. Ignore
What
these. Sorry.
It's okay.
What if
Broken my.
I make a little scout bot, attach one of the multi-dimensional null space chambers to it, and then we just pop through that. Then we only have to be exposed for seconds.
Well.
Sure. Yeah.
So
We just sort of jump out with a bag and grab it.
couple of things, right? First of all, yep, somebody will still need to survive direct exposure and not the heavily shielded and filtered exposure that Daza's city is. So remember, that thing's at the center of a reactor, powering said reactor apparently. That's then obviously shielded and then shielded, and then there's a building around that, and then beyond that, it's just like the lingering like build-up of radiation.
I reckon Weird could get through at least most of this.
Right? I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just giving you a picture of what your characters might have an insight to in universe. Right? You've got that. You then don't know what the egg would do to the multi-destinational null space chamber. Whether or not that would even contain it, or if it would just leak it out in multiple places. So that's things you would need to consider for that plan. But it's not that it wouldn't work, just that there might be a lot of bad consequences to it. Because I think either way, you're going to have an egg that's leaking radiation. What's your plan with it? Right?
Put it on a big lead box.
But it's in a huge lead box, and it's still leaking.
Strap it to a drift beacon and kick it into the ground.
Big old lead box.
Okay. So like just essentially tie a buoy to it and just leave it.
Yeah.
Just
Leave it somewhere that only we know the buoy coordinates, and drift is hard to navigate.
Okay. Would you feel comfortable just leaving it in drift as a group?
It reduces the number of people who know where it is.
Okay.
That's true.
To us.
Okay. And remember that the radiation as a byproduct from the reactor also was hiding people like Edgar, which is maybe another reason why the entire population of Daza haven't been liquefied by a certain character.
That's interesting.
Right?
Yeah.
Because you know that Urgalas knew where the Void Egg was, despite Lantaral hiding it with magic in that scene.
That's true.
He's witnessed that. So, throwing it into drift could either be perfect or handing it to people. Right? That's a 50-50 almost, really. I think whatever you plan, you will need to have a containment plan. Whether that is chucking it into drift or wrapping it in sellotape and hoping for the best. Like, whatever your plan is, you'll need to do it. Or even just hatching it, I guess. Trying to see if there's a way to catalyze it to hatch. I don't really know what that entails, but I feel like pulling a massively dangerous radioactive, like, ovoid, I guess, out of where it's currently housed may not be as smooth as you think.
Yeah.
So it's not
Anyway, I've been trying to post my remove radioactivity spell in the thing, but it won't let me click on it. So
I think it's just after our discussions, Roll20's banned those spells. Deleted the poison rule or something, so it doesn't know what to do. If you want to just copy paste it in, that's fine.
It's not. Oops. Oh, right. Okay. Yes, of course. I have to change the.
What's the spell called? Remove.
Remove radioactivity. I'll look it up. I can't actually copy paste the thing because it's got things in it.
Okay. I will paste as much of this as it lets me in. There you go. It should be everything from it
There we go.
for the gang.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to turn this light down a bit because it's burning my eyeballs.
So, I mean, as long as someone like survives initially getting ratted on.
Okay. What's the highest you can roll as a caster level check?
Good question.
There's also a better question for you in chat as well. I think.
Oh, silly question. What is the Burning Mother? That is not a silly question, my friend.
strap in because.
The sun.
The burning mother is
I know that's-
all the giver of life. The
Yeah, as
burning
Lyco said,
mother
it's
is
the
the
sun.
warmth that we feel at all times when we are loved, and it is what brings us together as not only like people but as spirits.
Yeah, makes sense. Yep.
Sounds like he
And,
doesn't know what it is.
Basically, it's the sun, but like, you know, in a sort of religious-y sense.
Yeah. It's the sun. Yeah. I liked your answer though. It was exactly what I was looking for. From Zig. So good. A disciple of the sun.
Yeah, Zig would have said that a lot faster. But
Yeah,
I
while like
have
pulling books out
digestion
of his
brain.
backpack and stuff and sliding them over, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's have a look at this. So you remove all ongoing effects of radiation from a single target if you succeed at a caster check. Caster level check. What's a caster level check and what's the highest you can roll on that? Because I wonder what the DC of this would be.
Yes, caster level check is. Oh man, my roll 20 is not playing the game.
Effects as cured of radiation sickness. I have a fan. When cast in an area, single casting, reductive to remove 20-foot radius, blah blah blah.
Need the burning mother smile fondly upon you.
Okay.
Right, caster thingy check, which would just be.
Okay, so the problem to this would be the fact that as soon as you did it, if you still had no way to reduce the radiation the egg gives off, you'd still have that giving off radiation. Nico, you're very popular, it sounds.
Yeah,
Your technicality.
apparently.
Would a caster level check just be my caster ability thing?
I assume
Thing.
so, right? If it's anything like D&D.
So it would just be.
But this is by Paizo, so there'll be 17 paragraphs to explain the calculation.
Yeah.
Different points in the book.
If I can just type that in and see what it comes up with. This is an interesting button to push. So, spell casting. Choosing a spell. Oh, caster level. Okay. Interesting. Caster level again. I do assume caster level does mean the level of the caster, and thus
would
how many
think
levels
so.
of casting abilities that he has, such as being all the mystic that Zig is. Spell level, let's see.
Okay, yeah, so caster level checks. Roll a d20 and add your caster level. So I guess 34 would be the most.
It's not bad. Not bad. Okay, so let's look up radiation and enjoy this journey again.
It wouldn't be session 100 without a radiation.
It's nice that we get a little
Roll
callback like
check.
this, like a
Yeah.
little bit of fan service. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, this is good, right? This was really simple this time, because radiation level and then your fort DC, right, for this. Low, medium, high, and severe. The highest is a 30. Which means you can make that. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Because it means that if that's my highest difficulty, I can set radiation to be. That's the highest the egg can kick out. Right? Which means if you can make that roll, then your plan isn't a write-off, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So I'd need to roll like a 16, essentially.
It's alright. Obviously, remember,
It's
the
not
more...
that bad.
And the more you do to mitigate it, right? Like if you could also use medicines to mitigate stuff like that, right? To reduce the effects of the radiation and such, like preemptively. Right? Because obviously it's one of those things that bugs me about certain GM interpretations of like a DC. They set it and they go, okay, so for example, if I use that, let's say it's a DC 30 and it has to be because of severe radiation, it's like, yeah, but what if the person was like super prepared for this? Like they're in armor, right? Maybe that reduces it by like a 10 straight away because the armor like removes it right down to say, maybe even just from severe down to high, to filter out that level, so it's a DC 22 instead of 30 now. There should definitely be a lot of that stuff factored in more commonly. I just don't experience a lot of it when I see usually inexperienced GMs. Or when players go, can we lower that in any way? And then they just shake their head and go, it's the best I can do. Slap the hood of the car, you know. So, yeah. Whereas I do feel like the more you're willing to contribute into something that obviously makes sense for the setting and everything, like, I feel like that should be fair. Really adjust DCs that way. Oh, hello again. Tell whoever it is, Nico, there are 2 blue loops away from making a character and joining us.
I always associate that sound with Dota because it was the only game that I would ever regularly get Steam messages during.
Right, okay.
So to me, it's like, who's playing Dota? And I'm like, no, it could be literally any Steam message.
Yeah. God, that'd be so annoying. No, it's one of those games where you wouldn't want to be messaged during.
Yeah, but it was both me and my friend that I played with had constant mic issues at that time.
Mm-hmm. Was your friend also called Mike?
No,
Okay.
he's called Daryl.
Okay.
And still is, as far as I know. I haven't really seen him in a few years because he like went off and had a child and all that shit.
What's the child?
That's not why. That's just part of
The
why.
child is called Mike.
Yeah.
That was the
That's
Mike
the mic
issue.
issue.
Yeah.
I'm not going to dox his child, but his child is not called Mike.
Okay. Well, at least we got the answer we were looking for a lot quicker than the poison rules, so it's alright.
Good job, Paizo. You did it.
Imagine this had all been like reformatted since all the feedback. Amazing. It could have been errated, right? I would never know unless I looked up my book and compared it. Unless they somehow
That's
replaced
true.
my book as well. Bastards.
Oh, they're good.
Mm-hmm.
They're good.
Paizo agents break into my room and on the lowdown, swapping out my property. Right, so yeah, I guess we have that big chat about radiation, right? That's a thing that happens. And I think for the purposes of God, is Nico, are you still with us, Nico? No?
Yes.
Good.
My mic is actually muted and you can still hear it. That's the problem. That's the annoying thing. I'm trying to figure out how to actually stop the sound.
Close Steam.
Unfriend
That's
whoever
the
it is.
quickest way to do it.
Kill them.
Yeah. Tell them you're role playing live in your 100th session, and that they could pick any other time to message you, or tell them to make a character.
Tell them that you can't respond to them. That the old Nico can't come to the phone because he's dead.
Yeah.
Tell
I
them
fixed it.
to
Black
listen
books, yeah.
to all the sessions,
I catch up.
And
And to
then
like
they
and
can-
subscribe.
and they can learn Zig.
It could be.
So you know, I did.
Learn some
Funny
Zig.
side note story. I did think about having someone come in to take up the Zig role, and I thought it would be.
We're gonna recast.
Yeah, I was like, oh, it'd be so interesting to see what a different. It
Okay,
gives-
if you're
gives
going to
them zero.
recast him, you can't have another white guy.
Well,
I
I-
don't know.
I
We could go with our Roger Moore phase.
I was gonna say my thinking was to obviously recast Alexander because he's got experience playing a rat type, right?
He's
Yeah.
also young.
Hmm.
Mm.
Right. Knows
Yeah.
Callum as well,
That's it. He does know me.
right? And
I reckon he could do a good me.
I don't even know if he would have to. I don't know if I'd give him any guidelines. I just would like to see if it was as weird as I think it might be, where we just
it-
have him play Zig with zero guidelines.
What if Zig was just a code name?
You're right. Yep. The old 007 vibe.
You join the Time Bandits, Zig.
Yep. It's you could play. Oh, you could play the Mirror Universe Zig. Zig with a goatee. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, I'm into it.
See?
Oh, yes, Alexander, please. I'll get on the phone right now. I feel like I need a giant red phone here so I can.
Yeah.
Get that
I
man on
look
the
forward to
phone.
meeting Zig's brother, Giz.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh dear. It's Zag, surely, is his brother, right? Is that not the joke?
There's different directions we could go on this.
Yeah, true. Anyway, back in the scene. I think
Yes.
Alice will then state when someone mentions about using the multi-destinational, null space chambers. Well, wouldn't that just move the radiation problem to us?
Not if we get started in space.
Right. What?
I don't know.
This is Alice speaking. Yeah.
could
I know.
use the ship armor to. Sorry, no, I'm not actually saying that. I'm doing a bit.
The ship is resistant to radiations, right?
Uh-huh.
So the ship armor is a valid thing, just maybe not to tear off your ship.
Mm-hmm.
Tear off somebody else's ship, though. Yeah. I realised the other solution, Callum, as well, is that we all just move with you and keep running the game from there. Just pull a big Ethernet cable with us. This is when he's not even at his mic, because he muted and left. Okay, we'll save that for when he comes back. And that's when I tell the gang, or weigh in with the gang then? Like,
I don't. Is there anything else I really need to cover? I think I gave them a sort of decent cluing in and what I'm doing, and I haven't really got a great deal yet that's actionable, as they say.
mm-hmm. That's fair, yeah.
Best kind of threat.
No,
So
yeah. Okay, I guess you sever the connection then.
I mean, I stopped talking mentally. I don't know sever the connections how I would phrase it, but
Yeah, it did seem a bit finalistic, didn't it?
it's a bit much, if anything. Yeah, a bit much.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah, I will do that, and I will go for my dinner appointment.
Yeah. Okay. So you kind of come out of your mental conversation. You maybe look over to the door, and there's some two staff members standing very politely, their hands clasped just kind of behind their backs, looking as if they're kind of blocking the doorway, but they look too polite and friendly to give you the impression they're trying to stop you leave. And obviously the doorway is maybe just a kind of big, nice kind of wooden arched circle almost exit.
Do I get the impression they've been there for a length of time?
Beyond
2 seconds.
Beyond 2 seconds, yes. The whole time, who knows? But you don't speak out loud when you obviously are having your connection. But they obviously just saw that you look like you might have been meditating. So they haven't interrupted. I think when you obviously notice them, one of them will smile, nod, and then just walk in, and then stand basically just 2 steps in front of the other person. They're now inside the room, and they say, "If you will follow us, we will take you to the dining room."
Yeah. So I think he'd immediately as soon as they walk in, he'd be sort of smiling apologetically, say something to the effect of, "Sorry, I was elsewhere there. Please."
And she nods and then turns, and she walks past the one that's in the doorway and starts walking down the corridor. You follow her, and then the guy behind you just starts to follow. So you're a bit sandwiched in. and they both lead you down to. It's probably like a good wee walk, right? Like you probably get taken on a somewhat, the tourist route towards the dining room.
Okay.
Probably past lots of expensive-looking possessions and things that could be classed as artifacts or relics and various other such things. And yeah, no family pictures or anything, nothing like that. Just
I sort of hadn't expected any.
yeah, just clearly a mild show of opulence, right? And then you're led to like a fairly big empty dining room. And she shuffles forward and pulls the chair out and motions to the chair for you.
I will take the seat.
That is like pushed in uncomfortably too quickly by the guy behind you. Yep, they're definitely attending to your needs whether you like it or not. And then she said, "You will be joined shortly. What would you like to drink?"
No, that's the question.
And by that point, obviously, the guy's already shuffling all the way up to the midpoint of the table where like there's clearly a whole bunch of different various drinks set out in the middle of the table.
I will name an appropriately inoffensive drink suitable for semi-formal dining. Some sort of wine, perhaps.
Yeah, sure. A white wine, perhaps, or a red wine.
An
That
ethnically
depends on what
ambiguous
you're
wine.
eating.
Okay. So a rosé.
Yes. In fact, there you go.
Mm-hmm.
Lyco isn't quite classy enough not to go for a rosé.
Yeah. Okay. I like it.
Starting with a dessert wine.
So yeah, that's
Apologies, I'm back.
welcome back. I did suggest,
sorry.
by the way,
A work crisis there.
I did literally
I'm glad you're back, if anything.
in your absence. I explained the solution to your spending a winter on a tiny island was us just moving with you and keep running the game. Possibly dragging a big Ethernet cable with us. But I realised you weren't here to hear the joke, so alas.
Oh.
Yeah. But that's all you missed, really. Besides like ordering a rosé to start his dinner.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So yeah, you
See, Callum. This is how you can tell Callum is salt of the earth, like myself. That he didn't immediately recoil.
I
in
honestly
horror.
thought you were going to just use classy, weaponized to describe Callum for a second there, and then you went salt of the earth. And I got more respect for you, Colin, at your choice.
No, that is Callum to a T. Salt of the earth, good, solid bloke. I'm sorry.
Politics in my role playing.
I'm not doing a bit. Callum's great. This is a pro Callum account.
Okay, so
Yay!
yeah,
Thanks.
you're sat at the table for like maybe 5 minutes maximum, and then
Okay.
in walks Mr. White Blossom, and he sits down, and he sits like if it was a rectangular kind of table, you've been shown to the, almost not the head of the table, but like the right hand man seat, if you will. And White Blossom sits directly across from you, so not even at like the head of the table, just like directly across. So it's a bit more intimate. So you aren't like shouting down an entire table at each other. And then he doesn't say anything to his like attendants; they just seem to know. Obviously, it's a very well rehearsed kind of a process. And I think he looks at you and he says, I have taken the liberty of putting on a selection of dishes. I'm sure one of them will be palatable for you. If not, I'm sure we can find something in the kitchens that can suit your dietary needs. Please be vocal.
So yeah, what is he presented with? Stuff that would be suitable for him, I assume.
It's just like a fairly big selection of like various dishes that get brought out, right? So it's maybe a 9-course meal that's overall presented during the course of it.
Just like a pick your own.
Yeah, like it's all just kind of like set out, but it's clearly again another attempt at him showing you look at the reach my kitchen has. I've got these dishes
Yeah.
from all over the system. Like there's probably even like a dish of like some horrendously bad for you like Eoxian grub or something that probably, is you should not ingest it. But it's there.
Oh,
Because was that sorry, Alexander?
the death worm.
Yeah, right, there's probably something there. That's
I think Lyko would go for like, let's say a sort of something that you would find in a slightly but not too upper market establishment on one of the nicer but not nicest levels of Absalom. Like you'd go for something that wouldn't be. You wouldn't go for a dish that most people have never heard of that requires an explicit and involved ritual before dining.
Mhm.
Like it's not going to be something that you have to wear a veil to eat.
yeah.
It'll go for something that the average person in the street would probably go, oh, that's that such and such stuff.
Mhm.
Oh, how fancy! But it wouldn't especially register.
Like space
to someone who
caviar,
has-
essentially, is the vibe.
but
you're
not
going for.
quite. I'm thinking more like
Okay.
a really fancy pasta that someone who can't pronounce Italian words would just go.
Right.
He's got some fucking like a spag ball.
Yeah. Okay.
it's it's not. He's not going for like the yes. I'll have the live
Bolongi.
space stuff. He's going for something that probably would to a connoisseur of rich foods across the galaxy, or the system at least, would probably register is a little bit obvious, maybe. But
New money.
Yeah.
yes, that's a
Yes.
good point. He would probably think, oh yes, these Johnny come lately humans.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think like he picks away some of the foods as well. He seems to be sticking mostly to like some kind of strange exotic looking fruits, which is odd. But like that's what he seems to be like kind of munching away on quite happily as well, right? Maybe almost akin to Denethor's level of you didn't need to eat that cherry tomato quite so intensely. Thanks, mate. From Lord of the Rings scene, but yeah, definitely has an appetite about him, at least. So this doesn't look like it's just for show. This generally seems to be him hungry and eating as well. He says nothing during the meal, unless you break the silence.
I want to, and I think this is gonna surprise you. I want to make a little roll.
Okay.
Because I think Lyko would, before he spoke, try and gather whether this was a thing where he doesn't want to do, talk business during the meal, not mixing business and pleasure, or whether it's he's waiting for you to engage.
Okay.
So I'm gonna
So-
sense motif.
I was gonna say you've got two options here, right? You could
Yeah.
roll culture to see if this is a standard practice for like Triaxis, right? Whether it's is it polite to not speak during dinner or like do business afterwards? Or you could roll sense motive to get the vibe of is he expecting me to talk first? Can you see how you'd get two different answers?
Yes, and I think because of an entirely non-meta reason, it doesn't really matter which I go for.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I think Lyko, being instinctually the sort of person who's looking at people a bit askance, I'm going to roll sense motive,
Okay, yeah.
and I
Okay.
roll a 37.
You don't get the impression that you being here even makes a difference to like his entertainment for the meal or whatever. So it's you don't get the vibe that he's waiting for you to speak first, like deliberately. You get the impression he is hungry and is happy to eat. There doesn't seem to be like he's picking at his food and constantly staring at you, or giving you body language hints to like get you to speak or whatever. or is being like weirdly aloof. There's nothing like that. He just seems to be quite enjoying the meal and like drinking every so often. He went for a red wine, just in case. Yeah, you cared. Red wine and fruit was his meal.
It's very sort of sweet, rich.
Yeah.
I think then that having eaten a sufficient amount to seem appreciative, if he himself has done the same, not to seem appreciative, obviously, if he is
if he looks sated,
where it seems like he has seen enough, he might take a dessert or something afterwards. But I get the impression that he's finished his meal. I will say, I don't want to be too like obsequious or anything, but like he would be thankful for a nice meal, and he does want to stay on a nice friendly note to try and get information.
If it's obvious these are
so
both finished, I think the attendants will come and clear things away, and then like a tea set will be presented, and he'll
I
just
think he would. I
he'll
think Lyko
just
would acknowledge the
attendance.
servers. Like, just like not because he's not speaking, he probably wouldn't do it either. But he would like at least look round to them and sort of give them a sort of nod of recognition.
Acknowledgement. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you
try not to get in the road, sort of thing.
I think you get met with like polite smiles, but no like obviously verbal replies. As the tea set's set out, and they obviously back away again, and then like Blossom kind of looks over to you and smiles and says, and he kind of gestures to the kind of tea set and says, "Tea, Mr. Quint."
How will I think I think a good old fashioned please would work. So yeah. I say sort of say please, not like an oh please, more of a sort of please.
Mate.
I just sort of go ahead, yeah.
Aye, on you go. Aye.
Cheers,
yeah,
pal.
I sort of say please.
And like he like does that thing where he tucks his sleeve up a bit, holds it back, leans over. He does look kind of old and frail as well. Remember he's got like a very albino vibe to him too. Definitely like weather-worn skin. And he pours the two kind of half cups of tea, and then sits the kind of kettle. There is a bit of like a fragility to the affair.
Okay.
He then like puts the kind of teapot back down and then hands you the cup. Hands it to him, obviously gives himself one, sits back down with a bit of a thump almost, and then exhales and lifts the cup up and holds it out as if, not to clink or anything, but just to like almost salute each other.
Yeah, I sort of raise it towards each other, but not actually connect with the two.
And then he'll toast, so he'll like obviously like raise it to you and say, to brief, pleasant visits. And then he'll sip his tea.
Lyko will nod, smiling, and do the same.
And it's not even subtext at that point, right? Yeah.
And I will, after having taken, a few sips, enough not to be rude, say, I'm trying to think of the best way to phrase this without coming across as rude. Given that I appreciate your considerable hospitality, and I assume something I said must have interested you to get you to extend this invitation.
You can see like a smile creep on his face a little bit as he's sipping his tea. Like almost like he can't help himself but like show it.
Okay.
You know, like if you're playing cards or something, you go, you've got a flush. I know you've got a flush before they revealed your cards, and they can't help but like just
can
grin.
tell, yeah.
And he sits his cup down with two of his hands, and he looks at you, and he kind of like clasps them back on his like lap, and he says, "You have said a great many things in your short time discussing with me earlier, and I imagine you have said much to contacts that you may or may not have on Triaxis, again in the short few days that you have been on Triaxis. Your intelligence that you have gathered individually is not governed specifically by any one body, and that has value to me." He picks his cup up and sips the last of it with like a slurp. And his eyes haven't left yours. Like,
Yeah,
the
like
entire
would give
time.
like a barely perceptible nod.
And he picks up the kind of kettle again and says, "Would you like some more?"
Please, thank you.
Yeah, and he pours more and sits back down. Says, "I understand your trepidation, and I can respect your curiosity in taking my invitation, accepting my invitation, what I'd say, for this meeting. You may speak your mind, and regardless of any agreements we come to, you can know that your thoughts will remain in this room." Kind of like nods at you, like a, regardless of what happens, this is a safe space vibe he's trying to give you. And then he says,
Yeah, sorry. I'll let him
and
continue.
then he says, "I am always interested in things that can be useful to Triaxis. As you know, Triaxis is going to be jumping in importance in the Pact Worlds. Quite significantly so, I would say, if things progress as intended." And he says that part very poignantly. He says, "If you have information that would alter the intended course, this would be valuable to me and lucrative to you."
Oh. What do I think he wants?
Mm-hmm. And feel free to have a player agency moment here as well and pull in the whole gang, because
Yeah, I'm more than
Yep,
open to suggestions. What do we think he would want to know? We have information relating to like the whole timeline and to the potential return of a planet, which might cause some disturbance in the local power, if not, fuck up the
Yeah.
galaxy.
yeah, there's loads you know actually, to be fair, about things that could mess up Triaxis' ascent to being a focal point in the system. And that there's like fucking biogenic weaponry going around the system as well isn't ideal for organics.
Yes, that's true.
So we've got, in fact, maybe we should list them as well, right? What have we got? We've got Galarian return. That's one thing. We've got bioweapon.
Get Vesk bioweapon with assistance from Aspis.
And that would probably be really interesting, right? I guess just Vesk, I guess, full stop, right?
Yeah.
Anything else?
Specifically, the intrigue at the top of the Viscarium would be of interest, I'm sure.
Anything else come to people's minds?
How much did he know? I don't recall him having. So I did mention the issue between Thingy Bobber,
he has.
Atravral Ellis, and Thingy.
Yeah, I was gonna say he didn't seem to know about the internal issues with the Vesk, or much about the Bone Age Vesk stuff, right? Like he didn't seem to know too much at all, to be honest. You seem to know a lot about your actions, especially on Triaxis, but beyond that, it did seem quite limited. So he's clearly like somebody that has a lot of assets out there that he wants to safeguard, and a lot of plans for those assets. And you've come in with loads of potential changes to the status quo.
Your various existential
Yeah.
threats.
Yeah. Oh, so yeah, that was for Tom's benefit in chat. So yeah, anybody anything else that this guy might care about? Because remember, you could assume his plan is that the Triaxis are funding the new space station and getting a lot of power because of that, going to orbit Triaxis, which means a lot of ships are going to go to that space station in orbit of Triaxis, because it'll be the new center of the solar system, which is kind of glorious for them. What could possibly affect that? Anything else that isn't just Galarian returning or bioweapons and Aspas's involvement, since Aspas seems to have like a fairly strong power base here. And the Vesk are obviously in orbit here. Eoxian, what, sorry?
Eoxian nonsense that's going on, isn't there?
Yep.
Eoxian.
That could potentially be an issue.
Yep, I didn't. I've put none since.
Oh.
Hey, you got inspiration. You're gonna have to roll something at some point. It's like
I'll get on that
yeah,
today.
We'll make sure that happens.
Good.
So yeah, what about Zora and or Zig? Any suggestions for the list of stuff that this White Blossom might be interested in hearing from Lyko? I'm gonna just type in eggs.
I mean, eggs. This is dragon.
Right.
Dragons have eggs.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know. No, personally, anyway. I mean, I can't really think of much. It's not already been said. I mean, not sure.
What about you, Colin? How are you feeling about this list thus far?
Yeah, that's pretty good. I mean, got Galarian, so
I mean, that's a biggie.
yes.
I feel like that's a good, like, oh my goodness.
The bioweapon stuff with the Vesk ties into Aspis and also ties into potentially the Greys and potentially the Corpse Fleet, which ties into Eox.
Yeah.
Eggs, I don't know. Aside from the fact that Himani was involved,
Right.
I did mention, and as I say, that seemed to intrigue him. I did mention the time malarkey at the end of the last episode before we had the surprise reunion 20 years later. So I'm struggling to remember exactly what I said, but I think I said something to the effect of, you are aware that the timeline has been altered recently.
So I guess I'll add that into our list then. Timeline. Sig problems. I think it's not a bad thing to bring up as the fact that obviously I think maybe I'm just going to type in as well because Himani is probably a plot point that's worth mentioning on the list, right?
Yeah.
Black Dragon, up to stuff, eggs, dragon eggs, right?
We're not profiling for anyone viewing. They are associated.
Yeah, chromatics.
There's a moon.
No, it was.
No, that was Emma.
Oh no, that was
Emma
that
offered the moons. Like, would you normally get paid? Would you like a?
It was.
Do you want like a?
How much can a moon cost?
Yep.
You know what? I think I just have to commit because I'm going to get massive analysis paralysis.
Yeah.
Which is not a medical condition, and I think my avenue will be to start because it ties into Manny very nicely with the time shenanigans.
Okay. Yeah.
And so Lyko sort of like gently, quietly clear his throat, like literally just in the sense of like, well, I've I'm going to start speaking for a bit, so I actually clear my throat. I'm not trying to get your attention.
Yeah, and then I think as soon as you do that, he'll click his fingers out to the side, and like all the servants of the room that you maybe didn't notice fully before all leave.
Okay, lovely.
Yeah.
I think Lyko can't quite restrain a slight smile. But yeah, he'll begin with. I mentioned before you extended the invitation that the time we exist in timeline had been altered recently, which is a bizarre concept. It's applied to timelines. This may interest you specifically more than my other individuals. Obviously, it's something that potentially interest anyone. But we experienced, my colleagues and I, a strange sequence of events during the timeline as we first and to this day essentially still recall it occurring, whereby I think I may have mentioned this previous session, whereby Himani reclaimed the contents of his vault from the current Drow Queen.
And he just like sips his tea and just slowly like nods just to encourage the conversation to go, but not enough to like interrupt it.
This was we had initially been approached by him under circumstances which I still don't fully understand, but he became aware of us. After all, we met with yourself and others, and approached us in the hope that we might help him reclaim this. We did. We assisted him less directly than he may have expected. We were forced by circumstances to enter a conflict with Lanthal?
Lanteral, yeah.
With Lanteral, which, as we experienced it, ended with her death at the hands of a third party. During this conflict, we therefore were able to provide Manny with what he required, the biological matter he required to access the vault, since it had changed to match her. This appears to be wholly undone. Lantarau seems to walk.
He'll say,
Quite
he'll
happy.
interrupt, he'll like go quite alive and well, to my knowledge.
Indeed.
He
But
sips
certain
his
events that were connected to it don't appear to have been erased.
such as, and you've got like his
We
eyebrow
freed
raises.
several prisoners during our raid. We were specifically there to release a prisoner, a member of our crew. He remains out and about. We additionally encountered in her vaults her sister and predecessor.
He gives you like a very sharp look with both eyes when you say that.
She
Enough to stop him sipping his tea. So you know it's
Okay.
serious. But he doesn't say anything yet, he lets you finish. Yeah.
She asked us to release her. We came to an agreement and did. She has since been really walking the world in the present time after
He stands up.
an absence of. And then, yeah,
Yeah. And he says, "Follow me. You may bring the tea if you wish." He
I
sits.
think you set the tea down in a full foam.
Yeah, and he's already sat his cup of tea down when he stood up, and he like walks out the doors. The doors obviously get opened by like two attendants on the other side of it.
Okay.
Yeah, And
I thought it'd be automated.
no, like weirdly, like there's very little technology that you are seeing in this place.
Okay.
Like there's like everything's either lit by like either natural lighting or like lanterns and stuff. It's very. I think we joked about how expensive like real wood was going to be for that guy's office.
Yeah.
Like this place would probably buy you that moon. Right.
Shockingly lo-fi for his millennium. You know.
Yeah, like definitely a man who lives off of the land in every way possible of that sentence, including the people that also live on the land probably. So, like, yeah, he's done very well for himself. And there's a lot of staff here that does kinda now seem to just be here for him.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is almost like somebody who's retired from technology. Even down to the fact that like the landing pad thing was just like a nice kind of white sand or white gravel like circle, essentially.
This is almost like a quiet place you can come to get away
Uh-huh.
from all that noisy tech. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is ironic that he seems to have been surveilling you and then brought you here.
Yeah, but it's like a tech CEO like taking a break in the Himalayas and then coming back and posting about on Twitter about how great it is to get away from Twitter.
100%. So yeah, like, and you walk through down a fairly like long wooden kind of dark wooden corridor. At the end, there's two big double doors that get like slid open again by another two attendants, and excuse me, they open it and it leads into like a kind of indoor garden.
Okay.
At the center of it, a very familiar looking tree.
Okay. Yeah, like the one that bound her.
Mm-hmm. And he just stops there, and he doesn't say anything. He just stops. The doors get kind of slid closed behind you. And he just waits to see if you're going to say anything.
And I do very quickly. I will say, yeah. This is very much akin to where we.
Yeah, slides out
where
of
we
his
encountered her.
footwear and then like kneels down with like a little mat that's set out. And he motions for you to kind of join him.
I will kneel down politely. You know what? I will take off my footwear because it is someone else's house.
And it's probably like the footwear provided to go with the outfit that you're
Yeah.
in anyway, right? So it is probably like slip-on shoes or something that you're wearing, something comfy. And like big combat boots in the other outfit would be kind of funny.
Yeah.
So
That may be a little more awkward to slide off.
the Lily Allen approach to, dress wear. So, yeah, and once she's kind of like sat and he says, I am aware of Thanaida. Not in detail.
My eyebrows raise at that, or at
Mhm.
least one does.
Yeah. And he says, though not in detail. Merely that she was bound long ago. And he kind of like tilts his head ever so slightly to be kind of like looking at you.
I see. Huh. There's some significance to this tree then, or
Kind of like nods. And he says, it survived the gap.
like she did.
He shakes his head slowly.
Oh.
I think you mistake my meaning, Mr. Quint. He like stands up and like shuffles
think I
over
do.
to it, like does that thing where he gently kind of like caresses one of the branches of it. It probably just looks like, again, I can't remember exactly what hers looked like, but it probably looked a bit like it was like a kind of weird willowy type tree, like half bonsai, half weeping willow, vibed looking thing. I think that's what she was bound to. That's what this probably looks like as well, because they do look identical. And emotions, and he says, no, I mean it's unaffected by the gap.
Then it would.
And like that almost like realization on your face like lightens up his, like he kind of smirks, like now you get it. Now you get the significance.
The gap would physically have changed it's not just lost time, it's literally lost time.
And he nods and he says, the phenomenon that is known as the gap has affected many things throughout. I can only assume the universe. And he kind of like pauses a second and kind of like clears his throat. And he says, the research that I have been made aware of is clear that the effect was metaphysical in nature, not just only to organic memory, but digital memory as well. There is no stored records that have survived that time, including genetic memory. See.
I follow so far.
And nods. And sadly, he doesn't have any cool like holographic boards he can just bring up and show you.
Yeah.
And somebody rushes him with a flip chart, you know. But he kind of just nods and then kind of like looks at the tree again, and then kind of like shuffles back to you and takes his kind of seat on the mat and says, "What became of this land? Yes, of this Tenaida? Was she released?"
Yeah, I'll nod.
Mm-hmm.
She remains at large in the world, and as far as I am aware, is continuing to behave as a fairly ordinary citizen.
He's a wee bit like silent at that, and then after like a couple of seconds he'll say, "I am surprised to hear this. Tenaida. Yes, I am surprised to hear this." Like it clearly changes what I was gonna say.
She initially was ill-suited to the present day, but she appears to have been able to claim knowledge from others directly. And having done so, I'm not sure if she claimed just the knowledge. He wants to put it quite gently because Tenaida is he would consider a friend.
Yeah.
I think she may have, in claiming this knowledge, also have claimed more from the individual. That she had her, I don't want to say interaction with, that's too sterile.
Encounter?
Let's say conflict with.
Yeah.
Her conflict with. I believe she's taken on aspects of that personality.
Kind of nods, just agreeing generally with the statements you're saying, and he says, "To my awareness of the Dark Elf mental techniques, some of their more advanced peoples have quite formidable psychic potential. However, I am aware that it is more akin to a hammer than a scalpel."
How much would he be willing to give away? And when I say he, I mean Lyko.
I know you meant Lyko.
I don't know that Lyko necessarily wants to be specific about just how, because it seemed like her psychic ability was almost like what you would portray in a TV show, like literally hearing thoughts as if they were spoken aloud.
Well, so let's review what you remember of Tenaida's abilities, or what you've seen of them, right? So there was on the planet, right, in Castroval, in her old palace, and there was the telepathy enhanced meal because of the effects the Nihilisolasaur, or whatever it was called, had on you. So that wouldn't necessarily be her powers, but she definitely had the
Okay.
politeness to withhold from that.
Yeah, that's a fair point. She
Right.
she doesn't
So-
necessarily had that.
So that's vague because she might have been that. That might have been her clever way of reading all of your minds and making it seem like it was the meal's fault, right?
Yeah, that would be very smart.
Mhm. Right, a very nice way of, especially diplomatically, getting to know your enemies, literally inside out,
Mhm.
while they get to know each other. And yet, her having the mental fortitude to navigate that could be very clever on her part. We know she has been clever up until she was convinced to be somehow bound to a tree in a vault. So there's that experience. You've then got the part where she was amped up on radiation, and lots of her like more tactile psychic powers, like tossing people physically with like say telekinesis and stuff, seemed to be very enhanced by Daza.
Okay.
So you've got that as well, but you did also watch her on Castroval like near lobotomize a guy,
Yeah,
and basically take on.
which obviously is what I've been referencing.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So just to give you a scope of like the more extreme things she's done have had like reasonable justifications around them if you could write them off, or it could just be her baseline anyway, and her self-control left her, right?
Yeah.
So you're not you're probably not sure what she's fully capable of, other than you probably, like you said, you probably wouldn't push her buttons anyway, because as I said, you
Okay.
consider her a friend.
Yeah. Okay, so I think given that he's probably quite unsure then about the exact degree and nature of her powers, so between that and obviously being a little a little shy about giving away too much, I don't think he's really gonna give any info there at all. Aside from maybe nod quietly in assent, because obviously regarding that banker guy,
Yeah.
yes, it definitely did seem like a when all you have is a hammer approach.
Mm-hmm.
Every problem looks like a melon. So yeah, I think he just sort of nods, and then sort of second layer be like, suffice to say, she has adapted quite quickly to this gap world, and if she intends to act against her sister, she's not taking any moves that I'm aware of.
The elves are a patient people. They can afford to take their time.
True. I confess I do still have the tendency to think in a human timeline.
He gives you a funny look, like a look up and down, and he says, I imagine old habits die hard.
Oh, well, I'm a cop. Yeah.
There were so many things laced in that statement.
Yeah. That pun wouldn't work in universe. He's not going to
No.
make it. So yeah, like I will say.
I think it holds up. You did
could-
die, and then you didn't stay dead, right? I think it holds up.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh no, it works. No, my pun about Die Hard
Uh-huh,
being a
yeah.
cop film is like. Wait, he is a cop, isn't he? In Die Hard, he's off duty, but
Yeah.
it's been so long since I've seen that, I forget. Yeah. Anyway, so like he would probably say something to the effect of, you could say that. Suffice to say, my timeline is theoretically quite extended now, but
No, it's
uh,
says I have done my own research into the Barai condition myself. I have found very little, in fact, but it is further assets to barter in this exchange. He just like nods, kind of like once at that, and he says,
certainly. Sorry, I'll let.
"No, yeah, it's okay." Yeah, and he says, "If Lantoral remains living in this timeline, according to your experiences, yet you were willing to participate and or contribute towards her demise in a now former timeline, Does this mean that you have allied yourself with this Thanaida's goal to remove Lanterel? And he's implying that, like, you've told him Thanaida's plan is to get rid of her sister. Right? That's
Well, I've
the
told him
vibe.
if she intends to, she's
No,
not
but
taking
that's
any
the
action.
regardless of what, like, that is what
Okay.
he is conveying in that sentence. He's asking that as if, well,
Right, so he is clearly determined that whether or not I've seen any evidence of it, she must be planning to oust her.
but it sounds like he's taking that implication from, right?
Yeah.
So yeah,
Okay.
that's what he's kind
I
of
will
asking, because
say,
you. And then to summarize that and make it less wanky for everybody else, essentially he's asking Lyko, is Lyko going to help Thanida still kill this drag queen that he's technically helped kill in the past? Is the gist of it, right? Kind of makes sense to this guy, right? He wants to know where allegiances fall.
yeah, no, Lyko will answer that quite readily. Like, I have no particular quarrel with Lanterau. No, the conflict that arose between our group and her was not one we would have sought, but certainly it's not one that I intend to seek again.
If I can ask then, was this at the behest of Himani? Or simply to retrieve your former crewmate? That is a white ass net he's just cast.
Yeah, we were certainly willing to accept reimbursement for helping accomplish his goal.
So it was him that pitted you against the Dark Elves, specifically
Initially,
Lanterel.
yes. Although certainly my crewmate would not have been left behind regardless.
Loyalty is to be rewarded after all. He just says, like, platitude-esque wise to that. And then he says, curious that a dragon out of grace would encourage such loyalty.
You think he had some other hidden motive beyond accessing his vault? I know, I think I would say like his lost vault, so it's
Yeah.
clear that obviously it was no longer really his vault on paper. Beyond accessing his lost vault.
And I think Red Blossom just nods and says, Amani disgraced himself by losing what? And he kind of looks at you and says, by what standards will we judge ourselves by? And he's very distinctively meaning dragons. He looked to save face. I see that he has reached out to you and your crew to do this. It seems like this temporal adjustment has stopped this. He kind of raises an eyebrow for like confirmation.
Yeah, I will nod.
Curious. I wonder who he has reached out to in this timeline, if you have not followed the same path.
We have encountered him once since the changes took hold. He certainly indicated that he was still... I imagine there will be others he has tasked with.
Right, Blossom
Let's go.
nods. Says, Imani has not yet regained grace with the council. You can tell that he is quite reserved to talk about the dragons. The way he's putting this across, right? Like as if, almost as if, like, you're not really on that level that you get to hear about their stuff. Is the vibe you're getting. But the fact that he's willing to talk about it is because you're clearly intriguing him enough. Right? You clearly still have enough.
Machine guy.
Well, that's it, you know. It's on your stats, I'm sure. All points to intrigue. So yeah, he says that, kind of like, again, reservedly. And then He says, "In what fashion did this meeting take place?"
In the course of some of the, how would he put it? I want to say something equivalent to like everyday goings on of being like a, legally dubious crew.
Freelance is
in
the
the
word you're
course
looking
of-
for. Freelance
in the course of
entrepreneurs.
our in the course of our ordinary goings on as a crew for a ship for hire, we quite often have cause to purchase arms and armor and assorted technology of an offensive or defensive nature, and a particular dealer who was known to us due to proximity to various places that we had previously been, transpired to be
Kind of like
an underling.
it takes
of
emotion,
sorts.
right? It takes emotion to almost like kind of stop you, like almost just like putting his like hand flat out in front of you, and he says, "You may speak freely here. Nothing you say will be used against you until we make a formal exchange." I kind of like nods.
I have a habit of being somewhat cautious with my words at times. Let me then try and be as explicit as I can. There is an arms dealer by the name of Bob. What species is he again?
He's Lashun.
Lashunta.
Yep.
It's spelled like in Lashunta. It's like he gestures a Q.
Yep.
It's not the human name Bob. It's a coincidence. Anyway, that individual we'd previously purchased from and encountered him again simply in the course of making some further purchases. At which point we... What was the exact circumstances? Himani was with them.
Yeah, remember, you were taking stuff down to, you were trading a whole pile of dragon bones, remember?
Yes, yeah, we were trading dragon bones. I'm not going to tell him that.
Yeah. You gave the dragon bones over. He's were in the super secret warehouse basement for Q-Bob, and they basically gave you free reign of the place while you went around with your shopping list and took what you wanted.
But what was Himani doing? Was he just there because we had the dragon bones?
Yeah, because remember, Q-Bob gave him them.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so I don't think I'm going to tell him that much. I'm just going to say we made some high value purchases, and his how would you call it? No, I'm not going to say warehouse. Like his
It's the basement, really, if you wanted.
His storage facilities. In his storage facilities, we encountered men for whom he is seemingly working, to some degree. Himani. What
he just
specifically
nods.
the connection is there and how long it's gone on, etc. I know nothing. Only that Himani seems to command quite some respect from him. They sort of unspoken, and when I see respect, meaning fear.
I think that probably isn't lost on White Blossom when he says, "Yes, my kind tend to have a presence that is hard to ignore, whether noticed or not. He like gives you like a look, and then he goes to stand, and he's a wee bit like not 100% like steady, so he's a wee bit shaky as he's standing. You assist him, or do you leave him to it?
You know what? I wanna roll.
Okay. You're gonna sense motive the guy, or
I want to sense motive because I want to know if I get the impression he would be offended by this.
Okay.
I've rolled a 25. It's not great.
It's not great. I don't know if you get enough about this guy to know if you letting him fall over is more offensive than you interfering with him full stop.
I will rise to sort of aid him, and like in a sort of giving it half a beat to see if he's gonna sort of push me off and go, oh no, I'm fine.
Yeah, and I think like as he like stumbles and like you kind of like maybe like position yourself so that if he does keep falling, like you can like support him under his arm or whatever. Like he does like make connect and whatnot. He does connect with you. And you do like seem to like support him. He is heavy, but you definitely stop him like just like losing his balance. And then he just like he pats you on like the arm kind of twice and kind of like self-rights himself a bit better. Not a super graceful act himself, but he does manage it. And then he says, "Forgive me, I am old." And he chuckles to himself, kind of like pats you again. And he says,
I will nod at that. I'm a little surprised that's what his explanation is, but I guess. Don't have any reason to doubt him, really.
I mean, not really. And like your sense motive, right? Like a 25 is like the basic, most basic success you can get at the moment, right? So
I am old is kind of there's something about that doesn't gel right. Like he's an immortal,
right? So
it's still true that he's old, presumably, right? That's probably true. But he's a dragon. Does it matter when they turn into? Do their human forms like?
Right, because I mean, arguably, if he's like an immortal dragon man, like surely he could appear as anything, like that weird albino Veth he appeared as before.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. He
looked like in peak fitness. So yeah.
So yeah, like I don't think I'm going to comment on that. And I don't necessarily have much reason to doubt him, but it does seem a little odd.
Yeah, and the whole vibe of that with your sense motive is like it was genuine, right? Like it didn't look like it was an act or anything, either. So yeah, it did seem like it just like, when he was uncrossing his legs, he just caught his toes on his heel or something and went over. So yeah.
So yeah,
arguably just 4 legs, I suppose. So.
Yeah, that's probably, and wings for balance.
Tail, yeah.
I'm not sure then. We do like. Not sure exactly how much I want to sort of like push him to talk about other things because clearly the Himani business interests him. Of course, it would. But obviously, there are other things that would be interesting to hear from him.
Yeah.
So I'll give him sort of a moment to sort of settle. Like, is he decided like we're getting up and going from here now, or what have you? Is that?
Yeah, and I think like you can tell like that moment maybe shook him a bit more than he was intending to. Right, he wasn't necessarily expecting to have obviously like lost balance or whatever. It takes a wee second or two, and then he like turns eventually and just starts like walking towards the doors as they slide open. And
I follow.
Yeah, and he says, "We have not yet settled on the exchange. I feel this must be discussed. So that this is pleasant for both of us." As he kind of chuckles to himself a little bit, out of character. For himself, I mean.
When he's saying it's the exchange, he's sort of referring to like of information.
Right? Yeah, he just means between you, like obviously you both want to like walk away from this feeling like he's got a good deal, right? Is the vibe.
Yeah, I mean, I've given him a fair amount, I would say.
And like he kind of like heads to maybe like the opposite room from where the dining room was, and it just seems to be like a bunch of kind of like low set couches. And he goes in there, and there's already like tea and various other things set up on the table. And he kind of like settles himself, and pours himself some form of alcoholic aromatic drink, and mostly sits kind of like nursing it. And he gestures to the table to help yourself, and he sits and says, "You have shared with me fairly liberally. You have kept your reservations as any sensible person would, and I appreciate your candor." He kind of like nods. I don't often host guests, you see. And then he sips his drink and coughs a bit. And then he says, "What would you ask in return?"
So I want to ask about Emma O first and foremost. I think secondarily I should perhaps ask about the eggs, given two things. First of all, obviously Hermione had one, or the Drow Queen at least had one.
Well, yeah, like remember Hermione's vault was raided by Dark Elves, right?
Yeah, so presumably they took it from him.
That seems to be the thing he was super interested in getting back, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So
that or he was just
therefore he would
petty
have
and
had
just
it
swallowed it.
previously, and therefore perhaps something he would know of. And also the fact that he didn't think to mention it, that's interesting, because it's like he knows what specifically it would be that the Drow Queen was holding that interested him so much. Right?
He didn't also mention, by the way, her sister's locked up to a tree either, though.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of weird stuff going on there.
But he didn't ask me either, right?
Remember,
like
that
said,
vault
what was it specific?
So that vault wasn't his, remember? It was just, obviously, stuff from it was his.
Yeah.
That was
but it wasn't
vault,
like he...
and it was Lantorala's after Thanaida's.
But what I was getting at was in terms of, like, he didn't say, what was it that was so important to Hermione that he made this deal. It was just
he
kind of
I was gonna say, he kind of told you it's the fact that he had no assets left to his name meant he didn't count amongst the dragons, right? Was the gist of what he was trying to convey, such as the whole dragon horde thing we joked about earlier, right? That's kind of why he fell from grace, is all his stuff got stolen by dark elves. So yeah, I don't think it really, like, I imagine White Blossom would never tell people half the stuff he owns.
Yeah.
Right? So I don't think he would ask necessarily unless he...
So I do think, like, maybe I should mention the egg.
Yeah, okay.
But...
What does anybody else think? Yeah. Do it with the party. Anything they think Lyco should cash in?
How is he with radiation?
Oh, you know,
How is he with radiation?
I am not asking him to do this for us.
And it turns from like trash a city, so it's just the desolation of White Blossom. Yeah.
Yeah. I get it. I get it.
Old man destroys. Yeah. Old man destroys Daza. It could be fun. So, yeah, okay. Anything you want to know, though? Right? This is like the head of the Dragon Council, as it were.
I don't know.
I would say that maybe you're not likely to walk away with a moon. I'll give you that for free.
Right.
Why not?
Because
it's a small ask.
I mean, to MO, it seems to be, right? Or she has no grasp of economy. Like, at all. People like moons, right? Those are rare.
Oh, I don't know.
Keep in mind, the more he's offered this guy, the more he can likely get. Always make the party's life easier. I can think of one thing, by the way, just so you know. I'll let you know if you run out of ideas, what the idea is.
Well, I've currently got 0 ideas because I've got like I don't know, brain paralysis.
Okay. Weird. Any thoughts about this exchange?
Just trying to think through our goals without just saying, "Hey, can you set me up my cybernetics business?" By handling a conversation with Snyder.
That conversation I could have had at least 3 or 10 times since making the goal. Yeah.
Yep.
You can have it over comms, arguably. Like, yeah.
I suppose you could ask him about Absalom.
What about it?
Or Absalom 2.
Okay, but yeah, nice.
Did he not like outright refuse him the last session? I think was that. But I guess
that
he's maybe
right?
a bit more
I can't
forthright
remember.
now. Maybe he's
It
a bit
felt
more
very much more
talky now.
like you're getting the official version of the story, which is it will be very good for us.
Which
Maybe.
I'm sure it will.
Like I say,
know?
Traxxas will benefit greatly by this being the new center of the solar system. 100%. Yep.
It's one of those annoying excuses, which is the benefit of actually being true.
Yeah.
I
It's like-
hate it when they do that. The clever bastards.
I know, right? Imagine all the dragons deciding. Remember that thing that worked really, really well for everybody in the solar system, but then it blew up? What if we paid for the second one, and then it meant we were great? Yeah. They've done well. You can imagine Himani's
Well, maybe
contributing
it's not
very
that
little to that project, though, which is probably a sore spot.
What a prick.
Yeah, right. But I mean, it's probably a sore spot
Alright.
for him, right? Because he can't contribute, thus he will have 0 input.
Yeah, he'd like to have his name on like at
Mhm.
least one of the lower levels or something.
You can give him a
The Humani outdoor toilet facility.
Himani's guns. It's a gun store.
The Emperor Palpatine Surgical Reconstruction Center.
100% that, yes. But that's what Weird is trying to do. It's literally Weird's goal. Oh dear.
It's sorry. I just remembered that was
Yep.
a thing, and it's so good.
And
I
it
love
was
it.
established in the space
Someday
between
someone needs to do
Fender-
an expanded universe for this bullshit.
So
And so like have really detailed like analysis of all the components used in Weird's new legs.
oh dear. How much
Sure.
of a budget shortcut Naz McKechlik took, yeah.
I look
Naz
forward to the-
McKechlik had a doctor's coat made of bongo hide.
Yeah. Anyway,
I'm
back
looking
in
forward
this
to
game.
the 6 novel series about old man guns.
He was probably an ex-Jedi back, or sorry, Solarian back in the day.
Yeah.
Everything
In the
he sells,
replicant wars, yeah.
everything he sells is a gun from some other named character in one of those early novels. Yep,
Yeah.
it's very finite.
You're
stock.
gonna discover that actually like future Zig made the initial Nyx and that Nyx was originally an AI too. And that Aspis got a sample of his code and used that to create Alice.
Yeah.
And they called it Project
That's-
RIB.
It's going to be Zig pushes Ivan so far forward in time that he goes back and becomes the base components for Nyx. There you go.
And then that moon that we were offered is actually
Yeah.
used to kill Emo.
Yep. Or Galarian. We're not sure. I like this theory crafting for the session 100. It's not bad.
So this is
But back in the scene.
increasingly. Yeah, so I think Lyko will ask him about something that is sort of pressing in his mind at this moment. which is you sort of approach it somewhat casually, despite the circumstances. Which is like, obviously you're very much aware of why I came to this world.
He kind of chuckles to himself a little bit. Says, I am sure if you had decided to hide your motivations, would I be fully aware? He kind of gives you like, not a playful look, but like a, almost like he's toying with you kind of look, right?
Okay.
As if he's clearly posing questions without actually asking questions to try and read you. You could probably feel like you're being read a
I
lot.
like to think I can be quite sly.
He laughs as he takes another drink and coughs again, as if the thing's way too strong for him. But he's clearly pleased by that, and he goes, like all skilled men should be, as he chuckles.
My stated reason, though, is quite true. I had intended to meet with Emma O.
Kevin nods and he says,
I
if this is still something that you wish, I could host such a meeting here, if you would prefer a more neutral setting. His eyes are like narrow on you right now as he's like sipping. The only reason he breaks eye contact is to cough, because, again...
truthfully, I'm not certain I'm eager to walk into the belly of the beast, as it were, but it certainly would not be the first time I've done so. I think she'd almost be disappointed if I didn't.
Yeah. Raises an eyebrow and just kind of like nods and sips again. And he says, you can't blame an old man for trying. So thank you to HOSS 00312 for following me. Thank you. Yep.
Welcome, horse.
Yeah.
Oh, and yeah, you know what? I think we asked this. Would you? Would it benefit you to host such a meeting here?
He kind of chuckles and he says, it would be rude if I were to be absent as host. And he takes a very quick sip of his drink.
Ah, I see.
He nods knowingly. I would say it would be beneficial to both of us. I could provide some protection if you were anticipating a less than pleasant exchange between the two of you.
I hope that should be unnecessary.
Yeah, he leans forward and sets like his cup down and then picks up like a cup of tea instead, clearly deciding the alcohol was a terrible idea. And then he picks it up and then while he's doing that he very casually says, plus the longer you stay on Triaxis as my guest, the longer your companion has to try and break into my data files. Sits back with his cup of tea and just stares at you.
Yeah, well, I am Lyco, so I can keep it in stride. He, you know what? I know exactly what I'm going to say. He has to keep himself entertained. Their minds tend to wander otherwise.
He laughs at that. He says, I have many employees under my supervision, shall we say. That's all he says to that.
I am curious, though. I'm not surprised that you were quite aware of his activities, but as skilled as he is just one man. I think he's a man.
He puts like his hand up, his kind of frail hand, and he says, it took us quite some time to notice his activities, so his skill is significant.
That's good to hear. Comforting, thank you.
Like, it's almost like he respects the attempt, right? Because it's ballsy for you. Like, you literally said, I'm a bit reserved to go into the belly of the beast, and you're sat here while your companion is hacking him. Like,
yeah.
he respects the ballsiness of that. You definitely get that vibe.
Nice.
But it's one of those, he's showing his teeth still, though, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. He's waking up. I was curious though that you I understand why I've attracted the attention of Emma O, given my previous history with Aspis and my connections with the Stewards. I'm surprised that I warranted quite as much of your attention.
He kind of like smiles and says, "It would be foolish of me to not be aware of the moving parts on and around Triaxis, given the ever-changing nature of the Pact worlds at present." He just stares at you again.
Yeah, I was just not. That's a very good official answer, and it's probably true. Again, so yeah, I will continue. Whether or not I am to meet Mo, because I still haven't had a response, right?
Yeah, I think, didn't we say you were gonna meet her in like
I
so
think
many
like we had
days?
said you have X amount of time before you get your response.
Yeah, so I think your response will be like probably like either this evening or like tomorrow morning. I think would be the third day. I think I said you'd get the response on the third day.
Yeah.
Very Gandalf.
So,
Mhm.
given that I don't, given that I don't yet know that a response is guaranteed.
Mhm.
So yeah, I would be a little hesitant about saying it's definitely. Yeah, so I would say something like, whether or not I'm able to arrange this meeting, I would prefer to go in forearmed with knowledge.
He nods. He says, "I will remind you also my offer stands that if she is on planet, we could have her here within 2 hours."
Hmm?
Yes,
what was
Ruby.
that?
That was a duck.
Okay.
Or it was Alex's sexy grill.
I mean, that was that really
Yeah.
kind of took me aback. I'll be honest with
I
you.
mean, that gave me tingles.
Doggy SMR. Start it now.
She likes to come and bother me when I'm on the sofa. And
That can be your
make those
new
noises in
business
my ear.
venture.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's good.
Um,
Do you know that famous?
You go, Ruby. Go.
No.
So,
yeah. So I think like I was like
so you're getting the impression that like his comment earlier was he would invite her, so it would be
Yeah.
a bigger name as he would put it, right? That's the
Mhm.
impression you're getting now.
That's fair. That makes
Mhm.
sense. Something that she would be likely to make time in her busy schedule
Uh-huh.
for. There is a great deal we still don't know of her and her intentions. And at this particular juncture, with a number of extremely troubling developments across the Pact worlds and outside them, we've discussed some of them, but there are others I'm aware of, and I'm sure there's a great deal going on in the background that you're aware of that I'm not.
Kind of
This is
nods.
a crucial moment, and she is a major and an extremely dangerous player.
He kind of looks at you and he smiles and says, "Then perhaps it's best we all know which game we are playing." And he kind of nods to you as if ball's back in your court. Make a decision. How much do you want his help?
So I get the impression then that he wants me to give a little more info as to
No, like so.
regards to
Yeah,
why.
like I think that scene,
Or-
the way that scene would read, he'd say, "Let's make sure we're all playing the same game." Then, that reply is conveying him saying, "And you should take my offer of inviting you here, so we can all
Yes.
learn, the three of us, what we're all up to." And keep in mind, he probably has good relations with her, right? And you don't have bad relations with her yet.
Yeah, not officially.
Right? Yeah. We knew that obviously Alice forecast that last 2 sessions ago, I think. Should we just kill her now, was Alice's point of view, because we're going to attempt to kill her later, probably. Based on everything we're doing is kind of against her, in a roundabout way. Which made sense for her to bring up, the warrior, Alice, that she is. So yeah, I think you do have an opportunity to like capitalise on this. You technically might even surprise her by being present if your presence isn't even mentioned, if it's just like her and White Blossom to have a meeting. But that's up to you, obviously, and this obviously won't come free. You'll know that much, right? You've got that from the whole vibe. There'll be something. The payment of him being present while you discuss everything might be enough, though. The way he gave you a weird sly look at that, and he was saying how obviously it'd be rude if the host wasn't present. That might be enough for him, but you're not sure yet.
I think I'll try the direct approach.
Nice.
Cards on the table. It will benefit you to be present for any such a meeting, certainly. But who's to say how much? I mean, my questions, her questions might not touch your interests as much as you would hope.
I do believe I could ask my own questions if that were the case.
Of course.
Okay, nods. He says, if you...
But you could do that without me.
He laughs and he says, yes, but I might be very intrigued as to the nature of how you start and end things with Emma O'Narakis. She has a presence on Triaxis I do not wish to see terminated yet. Again, if only out the window there was just an explosion. Again. Or just every night it clicks to him checking his bomb in the case, yeah. So yeah.
I am... Frankly, so am I.
And he kind of nods to that, like a kind of understanding nod of, yeah, I get it, don't worry, I totally get that.
Yeah, sorry, I'll continue.
And he says, in the interests of being direct with each other then, I will benefit from most of these exchanges, regardless of how they play out. I think it would be short-sighted of you to not try and benefit from them also. Assuming that it would take place on Triaxis regardless. He like nods to you, almost of a reminding you that Triaxis is his.
Yeah.
Though, even if it isn't,
and
that's the vibe.
He's probably going to get a lot of this information either way, so I might as well just let him get it all and stay in his good books.
Yeah, make it easier for him, and thus, because obviously if he has to do it through more people, it's going to be less vital information, right? If more people know about it.
Yeah, it's going to get garbled as it goes along the chain.
And likely leaked as well, right?
Yes.
So obviously the more pure and at the source it is, the more valuable it can stay. So yeah, you've clicked onto the guy pretty well.
I'd be happy to accept your gracious offer.
He stands and just gives you like a kind of deep bow. He says, she'll be here within the hour. And he walks away.
I think it does raise an eyebrow again.
Like there was a very, very sure tone to that. Like
almost like yeah.
He pulls off his mask. He was MO the whole time.
Yeah, like as soon as he goes out of that room, he shuffles down the corridor, quickly jumps into the changing room, switches his wig around. Yeah.
But I do get the impression that he might have
already
more reason to be sure of this than it at first appears. Like there's perhaps more going on there. So that's interesting.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that happens, and then we switch back to the other guys. Surprise, surprise. Yeah. So I guess you just head back to the ship. That's where I feel like you were going to, unless you want to actually go to the Deep Cultures Institute. Remember, I did say that yeah, you might be able to learn something about Daza here, but probably people on Daza in the city of Daza and the people that run
We'll
that
know
factory
more
will
about
know.
Daza than
Yeah.
yeah.
And I feel like you've got a better chance of bribing the information from people at Daza. The workers of Daza will probably be up for.
Sparks will know. It's all good.
I mean, Sparks probably already knows everything about what you need to know and less.
Yeah.
Yeah. Emphasis on less, but you know.
So it's up to you. I don't mind if you've got a Deep Culture Institute, but again, how much will they care about a random backwards planet?
Excuse me.
Sorry, soon to be Weird's domain.
Weird's domain. Weird's kingdom.
Mm-hmm. The
It
kingdom
is
of Weird.
culturally distinct.
Yes.
It is advanced in survival techniques and ingenuity.
Advanced in variety is a great way of describing it. Oh yeah, that's good. That's definitely like a trial by fire survival, test. Yeah. As I said, that's why Bianca Fane, extreme sports personality of the Pact Worlds, was there on her extreme sports tour.
And she just couldn't cut it.
Yeah, the pressure got to her. Sad. It really is terrible to see.
And I have to cut down her plan.
It was on the budget issues where obviously the production team just not, giving them their own private bus to get around Hackathon. Fucking hell.
But you would get the authentic experience like she did. Otherwise.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But sometimes you want the authentic experience of Brazil, and you get it in the sense that a very attractive person shoots you 3 times in the face and steals your car.
Heck, it was a long shot anyway.
Oofed.
Well, actually, no, it's usually quite close up with the carjackings.
And also, it was very close up with the guy sat next to her in the coach.
Long shot.
Yes, yeah, that's true.
Do not stop at red lights.
Yeah.
Some
So,
might say it was a mug shot.
oofed.
Oh no!
Oofed.
I hope they don't. I hope whoever
So-
see that just doesn't.
Rewinding slightly. So you guys, what would you like to do? Deep Cultures Institute or back to ship and head to Daza? What's the
What
plan?
if we
yeah, sorry. Yeah, I'm too busy. That was...
Sorry, what was that, Alex?
take someone from the Deep Cultures Institute onto our ship? Then we could do both.
Is that an option?
So
Why
kidnapping.
Well, if you put it that way,
It doesn't have to be kidnapped.
Just not an
No,
ominous red light at the Deep Cultures Institute, that's all.
Would we like to take somebody on a deep culture trip?
Okay. Yeah. I mean, to be fair, I can't think of a better place than Hackathon for that.
I don't know, man. I mean, like, our ship's a pretty cultural shit, right? There's
Yeah.
like people of
Diverse,
all shapes and sizes.
Yeah.
We're very cultural around here. Oh,
Culturally diverse.
So, what's everybody's vote? So, Captain, what's the decision?
To the ship. Daza.
Cool. What was the other votes, though?
Cool.
So, Zig, what would you
What
have
was the
voted?
other vote?
Daza, I'm happy to go. I'm happy to go to Daza.
And Weird, you happy with that too, as opposed to kidnap somebody from the DCI? Yeah.
No, I'm happy to go to Shippy McShipface.
Okay, cool. Should be big ship face. Yep. I think that was the 11th hour.
Kidnapping from the DCI sounds
according to Olka.
great, actually.
I know, right? Sure, Olka named the 11th hour Shippy McShipface way back when. So,
She would do.
yeah.
She's a problem.
To be fair, I imagine had she stayed in the game, she would have been most of the problems on, like, well, not most, sorry, Zig was still here. A lot
wow.
of the problems. Well, she was the air quote Han Solo type, as she designed her character to be. So,
Are you sure? Because this game features. Sorry, I'm not gonna say.
oh, dear.
Sorry, Stephen.
So, yeah. Well, I mean, that's the Podameron type, right?
Oof.
So it's okay. I like female characters.
Savage.
My opinion doesn't matter. So yeah, I guess you get back on board the final hour. You wait for obviously Demadvin to return. She does. She's got loads of plant samples with her in her shipping crate. chest, or is that next to, I guess, the crate you park with the egg? And unless are you taking the egg somewhere specific, or just?
Probably just lock up in the armory or something, right? So,
We were told to put it somewhere safe, but I'm not sure where. that is.
probably the armory.
Yeah,
It's probably like
just lock it in there if
the
you want.
only place.
Yeah,
Good, yep,
let's do that.
lock it in there. She,
Dodge a bomb, you can dodge an egg.
she puts her samples with the rest of them, obviously, and then you can set course for Akaton. Can someone roll the ship D6? And can someone roll the piloting check?
I get to press a button. I get to press a button. One D6. Is that 6?
Yeah.
There we go. I rolled the button.
So it's 2 days. Do you want to type in 2 days, buddy? Okay. Well, hey, look at that. How good is that? So,
No bad.
it's alright, yeah. Look at you. We need to make sure that Mirror Zig is also good at piloting. Yup. So, to be fair, though, right? Obviously, if push came to shove, like it would be Alexander, or like if he is unavailable, we could always try and get Emma to try and play you, which would be hilarious. Because I think she'd be up for trying.
Great job.
I think she would be up for trying to emulate you, which would be funny. To see her version of you, and then to see her argue the justifications of her decisions based on what you've done in previous episodes would be funny.
Brilliant.
So yeah.
Brilliant.
But yeah.
I think it would be really stressful playing someone else's character.
Yeah, it's why I try and avoid doing it, like as a policy. Especially if you do something that is like just enough out of character that changes the scene enough, that means somebody comes back and goes, no, none of this would have happened that way. It's why I again, as a GM, my policy is to try and avoid it as much as humanly possible. Yeah, it's bad. It's also why like inventory needs to be stated as communal. Like if somebody has like a quest important item, it's a communal item. It's not that person's, because it needs to be able to be taken off that person unless like if they can't make it that session, or it's not a good idea to give the party a quest item like that if that's the case, you know. Anyway, those are all the sides. So, yeah, I guess 2 days pass and you head all the way over to Daza, or at least you try to. 1 day in, the ship, there's a big alarm that goes off in the ship.
Oh my god, invasions.
Big alarm on the ship.
That's
And the ship gets volleyed out of drift space. Very violently.
I get fired out of bed, like, unwillingly.
Like Alice is probably the one on the bridge at the time, and she's just probably panicking.
Of course, because the last time it was going to the sun, now it's coming from the sun.
Oh god.
Full circle.
Oh, that's a good, actually. We actually
he's
know
got
that's
volleyed out of drift space, and then the comms like click with awful audio static, as if Alice is just plugging all the cables back in to make the comms work again, because she's probably still working on Finn.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, and the audio comes on and says, Admiral, to the bridge. It just cuts off.
I'll run to the bridge.
Yep, and your Vesk PJs, and yeah,
I've got like a wee pointy hat on and everything, like the Scrooge hat, you know.
Yep. You get to the bridge, and immediately your arms are grabbed by very strong Vesk hands.
Oh god!
Either sides of the door, and in the center you've got Alice held. Yep, Alice held by the throat by Matva Vralin Ellis, the Event Horizon herself, and she said, "Funny who you run into out here." And then that's where the session ends. Yeah. So, what would you like to call the session?
What a bitch. Not Q incidents, because I feel like we're going to accidentally get flagged.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I said something clever earlier in the session and I've now forgotten it. Or at least I'm convinced I did.
Antiquing? No. What's the thoughts?
Getting old.
Yeah, that's just a vibe, I think.
We are.
Yeah.
Nice session 100 title.
My Friday gang decided to name session 100. 100.
Yeah.
Yeah. The most on the nose possible.
We should call this 103.
100, but just with the words instead of the numbers. Yeah.
Oh my god, Ryan. Long
What?
in the tooth.
Long in the tooth. Yeah. Yeah. It's good.
Tooth long.
Long in the tooth is very good. It
I'm
gets.
going to suggest it officially
Yeah.
using the method of typing it.
I like it. It's good because it works
Maybe
on so many
approved on
levels. Vesk have sharp teeth. He was
I
a
like that.
dragon. You know.
Ah.
This
It
game.
was the girl.
This game has lasted so
You're a
long.
dragon, he's a dragon. There's nothing around it.
She was a Vesk. He was a dragon. It's good. Well, that was easy. I doubt we're going to get another suggestion better than that.
No.
Good. I'm glad we've all came to this agreement. Right, that was easy. Long in the tooth. Goals.
Ghost.
Let's look at this.
Always believe in your soul. Well, I
Well,
mean,
you've
I've
discovered
discovered
the
the
word
benefits of that. Right in front of my face.
I mean, arguably they discovered themselves
He walked onto the bridge.
and found her. Yes,
I mean, here's my question, right? Here's my question.
My message.
Nico, if you have discovered the whereabouts of Manfa, where is she?
She's on the bridge of the fucking final hour.
So you can move that to the completed pile. Yeah.
Shift down on it. Yes.
1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So regardless of what happens now, you get to level up to level 16. Can I shift it down and put a
Yay.
level in?
Oops. Control Z that. Like.
Excuse me, it's Control Z.
Oh dear. Canadians all round. So, any other
It's
goals?
not. I mean, no, it's Control Z because keyboards are American. Aren't
So,
they? No, probably they're not.
are we
Maybe they are.
clarifying Shakos' situation with Helen or Babak? I don't think that happened.
I intend to. I might not get it done for a little while, but I damn well intend to.
We've not established the business and we've not reunited the family. I would say that was
No.
pretty obvious. We haven't used CC to gain dragon related info to the new station yet.
He's working on it.
He is. It was confirmed that he was working on it. Yep. Convince a suitable person to retrieve the Daza egg.
We've talked about that.
Convinced me to do it.
I think we still need to see if you are the suitable person yet. So there's a lot of
He's
work you
a
need to do
person.
that may be suitable.
Yes,
Feels suitable.
I accomplished most of the necessary features of that goal.
Yeah. So I think when you're in a position to tell me you're immune to radiation, I suppose.
I'm immune to radiation.
Perfect.
If I can all of a sudden expel radiation, does that make me immune to radiation?
I don't think that's how it works. It should probably be how it works.
If I secrete radiation?
Yeah. But then again, people with severe radiation poisoning will also secrete radiation, so...
Yeah, and that leads us to the poison rules, in which case it's an auto-fail. So,
Because it is actually a thing that I can do if I felt like it.
well, I'm going to just state right now that we have not convinced a suitable person to retrieve the Daza egg, and perhaps that might want to be reworded as make weird the suitable person. Conclude the Kivalara
Create
case.
suitable.
Yeah, could be create suitable person. Yeah.
Was that like Yoda speech?
Yeah.
Make weird the suitable person.
Make me the supervision, yes?
And then we've got retrieve info on Daza and repercussions of eggs removal. I mean, Lyko might get something from White Blossom.
Potentially.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows? But again, literally just talking to the people that work in the actual reactor might help. That'd be useful. And then create multi-destinational null space chambers for the crew. Might be super useful to do if your plan involves using them. Which is not a bad plan, to be fair. So, yeah, are we changing any goals? And you need a new one.
Yes, I do need a new one.
Talk to Matva is not a goal.
Get up, Matva.
Take her place.
Decide what to do with that.
You laugh? Is that
Pure
joke right?
Matva's side of the story.
Oh dear. And they get,
Convince her to monologue.
you know, there's no convincing needed for that. Like it's
Session 101, Matva's monologue.
The events horizon. Yes.
Who adopted the pact words? I don't know.
I was murdered.
Murdered by it.
Murdered by it. Brr.
Just repeat.
I'm
I don't know why it goes brr then, but it's fine.
It's fine.
Probably.
Brr.
Just gives me
Brr.
Bob vibes. That's all it did.
Brr.
Oh god. Aren't we glad that he hasn't been an NPC for a long while?
It's actually not been that long.
I think-
Kinda.
Oh, it's been long enough. Like physically. It's been long
Yeah, I
enough.
mean, every session's long
Yeah.
enough. Man.
I think
One
This is
session's long
why
enough.
we have such long breaks between.
Yeah, just a recovery period.
It's actually Bob recovering.
Bob just
I think
scars
he might
us.
be the worst NPC I've ever met. Do you know that?
Yeah, he's pretty nasty, man.
I believe it.
No.
Okay.
No.
Cadfell's a fucking nightmare, man. But like,
Yeah,
Bob's
Bob
just
at
nasty.
least would talk to you and understand you, and you would understand him. You could have an efficient conversation with Bob. No.
Okay, fair.
I mean, right, there is some pretty damn headachy characters.
Fair. Uh-huh.
But Bob's actually just gross.
In the
Like, he's the
Wednesday
most
game,
gross character. Like,
sometimes people join and then they try and get like a sensible straight answer out of an NPC, and I give this like, I don't know. I need to go back to my streams to see if I actually have the look physically on my face or if it's just in my head, where I just roll my eyes and laugh because I'm like they obviously haven't experienced enough of my NPCs to realise that doesn't work. Just ask like straightforward questions. And it's like, no, you need to go through the weird bit, sadly, to get to the answer you're looking for, I'm afraid.
They need to learn that
You
the
tried
the
dropping.
solution is to do it back to you.
Yep. It's like embrace the process. Assimilation.
The process.
I mean, we've done okay, right?
Oh,
And sometimes, NPCs that we like and don't like just get exploded. Like, I mean, I kind of miss Gring and Durwa, I'm not gonna lie. But it's fine. Lyco's made of him now.
we don't think about that.
So, okay, goals. Zora, what are you putting in? What's important to Zora?
oof.
What is next on
oof.
the Zora agenda?
Just life, man. Retirement at this point. Like, fucking.
So, is retire from life just die? Is that the goal?
I mean,
Yeah,
it's a
right.
glorious one. If it's a glorious one.
Imagine
know.
you decided you had enough of Zora and you wanted to make a new character in this game.
Just at this point, right at the end. Like, kind of like.
Like, oh,
Just,
can I play one?
boys, I'm done, man. Zora's done, mate.
Maybe it's tactical player gaming though, right? It's like, can I play one of the guys holding Zora instead, so I've got the upper hand in the scene? Like,
Yeah, I want to swap to Matva, right?
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I'll give you that, right? I'll just give you her goals page.
Just
It's just fucking. In fact, I don't know. Actually, we'll find it. But I don't know. Like,
Okay, so let's theorycraft a tiny bit, right? So, does Zora think this meeting's going to go well, middling, or bad?
it's gonna go splendidly, man. Like, me and Matva are just gonna hug and speak about all war stories eventually. Like, probably not.
I'm just asking, like, in like your ideal.
I don't know. I honestly don't see Matva as being the crazy traitor person that like she's made out to be. but yeah, at the same time, she also is kind of a problem not within the story for Zora.
Uh-huh. Okay, yeah. Okay. I think that makes sense to me.
No, I just mean like, I mean like the problems that she has for Zora isn't probably going to come up in this game. But she's got problems. There's problems for Zora like later on. Like,
Yeah. Okay, now I get you now. Yeah. Like
Wait.
this quest, this original quest can still probably be resolved, and then there's the epilogue to deal with. I get you.
yeah, there's like all the bullshit that happens to the Pack Worlds after all this shit happens with
You
the
mean
Vesk
season
invading.
2 is what you mean?
Yeah. Because she'll probably try and help the Vesk invade eventually. Like,
Or like season 6, I guess it would be if it was like a 20 episode series. Yeah. So, okay, if this is going to go well, what's next step? Assuming all this Vesk business goes well. You're headed to Daza. We know you're like, you were a day away, roughly, but you're now however long this takes. But arguably, it's technically still a day away, depending on how long this meeting takes, because that role is to determine the distance between the 2 points at any given time, right? So, so it should still be a day away, which is good. You shouldn't need to roll for the next drift jump. So, get there in a day, or you could, I guess, just detour and go pick up Lyko, depending on what he's up to, right? Before Daza. It's really up to you now that you've had this like little stopping point in the middle of nowhere, because you're probably in like the space between things. Otherwise, just known as space. So, yeah, get to Daza and do what?
well, we're going there to get the egg, right? But we've had to go for the egg, essentially.
Get 2 egg-related goals. You've got convince somebody suitable to go retrieve it, and then you've got retrieve info on Daza and the repercussions of the egg removal. So
it's a lot of egg. Very, very,
okay, so
very eggy.
let's assume that all goes well. What's next?
Probably try and get rid of the eggs.
Right, there you go. Right, how? Big omelette, yeah.
I don't know, like huddle them into the sun. That's always my idea, but need to like it ever.
I mean, hey, you could pull rank, right? See how that goes. Right, because you're going to have a radiation egg problem and a soon to hatch egg problem.
Have I? Wait. Find like. I mean, we kind of know why Dick Heed wants him, right? What's his name? Urgalas, right? Right? We kind of know.
Sure.
But, yeah. I don't know, man. I'm actually stumped. I'm stumped.
Okay.
I'm
So,
stumped.
and to get any suggestions for your Admiral, Captain, Vesk man?
Ooh.
And feel free to use the same model I use, which is assume this next problem goes really well, like the best it could possibly go, and then the next thing goes really well, since you've got goals covering most of this.
type of guy, right? And my one fit forward was finding Matva, and then I was like, oh, well, fuck.
Okay, that's why we're at 100
about
sessions. That's why we're at 100 sessions. Nico.
So this is how you get
I'm
the
not a captain,
content, right?
man.
So yeah. I mean,
That's why we're hashtag content machine.
yeah, that's it.
Mhm.
So look at your ideas pile as well, Nico.
None of them are very, very.
I'll let them just say kill and an NPC's name.
Kill God, kill Demogesh, discover what Solarian Crystal does. Meet with this to get Demogesh in order to find leverage on the crit, and I've already done that, but that's like that's past. Discover what happened to Cece, that's past. I should probably just get all these things. Get delete. There we go. Kill Demogesh is maybe one of the cards, and God must die. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, there's character arcs, and then there's intermediate goals. Yeah.
I have to say, like, the Mogesh stuff does make sense, right? Either way, however this goes, Mogesh makes sense as a next step after Matla.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
And is on the way to pick up Lyko, assuming he doesn't move.
I don't know, like maybe like decide what to do with Demigesh
Kill him.
after I find out what to do with Matt.
I love how the more we try and plan, the more we just devolve into murder hobos.
I mean, what am I doing? Demigesh, right?
Yeah.
It's probably highly dictated on what comes out of Matva situation.
Okay, so what would you
Well,
like to what would you like to hear from Matva? Is a better question.
That she's not a mad crazy biowarfare fucking fiend, and like.
And what would that mean to Zora, though? What would that mean for the grander scheme of things? Like, what would it mean for Demogesh?
I probably don't need to murder her, and I probably want to murder Demogesh first. Maybe a wee bit more.
Okay.
You're obsessed.
So.
I mean, Demogesh I want to murder regardless, right? But I'm on the fence about Matva.
Right, so it sounds more like you're on the fence between the two of them, and it sounds like they are either side of the fence.
Yeah, Demogesh is definitely on the murder side, that's for sure.
What I mean by that is, it sounded like the way you said it to me, by trusting one, you would distrust the other. Right?
Nah, definitely I don't trust Demogesh. Demogesh is a definite no. I don't
Okay.
trust him, period, right? But, like, that family, I don't.
Okay,
Yeah,
so,
I don't
so what about something with a qualifier about Matva then? So not just learn if I can trust her, which is bollocks. It would be actively gain something from her that would qualify trust with Matva. Right?
Gain
What's that?
leverage over her.
Could be
I would
that.
like to know that what Demogesh says was the true about her, right? Because, like, I don't really
So
like her.
clear Matva's
Okay,
name
then.
would be an amazing goal.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
If, of course, her name is clearable and she's not
Yes.
actually.
Yeah, but some goals need assumptions, right?
Yeah.
Because that's at least
Yeah.
something with a qualifier, right?
Mm.
Related to Matva. And it is an idealistic viewpoint, which is a... Yeah, I like that. I think that's good. Not to say that it is clearable, but I think it is...
Catch me mechanism.
It is, at least it sounds like something Zora would want to do. Right, I think that's the
Yeah.
important thing about the goal. Perfect. Anyone else changing any other goals?
Not for now.
Not for
but
me.
Between now and next week, it's entirely possible I'll have thought up something
That's
a little
fine,
bit
yep.
more immediate.
Weird? Any goal changes?
Nope, I'm fully committed.
Perfect. Speaking of fully committed, wrap up chat time. Do you want to go first, Weird?
I just enjoy hearing Lyko in his guarded diplomacy with an NPC who doesn't seem to immediately want to kill us.
White Blossom seems alright.
Yeah.
For now.
I hope that he kills Mo.
Or Edgar. Like, it's, I mean, I'm okay either who gets the kill, to be honest.
Someone's probably going to die.
Yeah. That's what we really want.
That's just diplomacy subtitle. Someone's probably going to die. It's the best we can do.
I'm curious as to whether we're going to get any combat next week. Oh.
Well, he's our level 16 now, so we get to relearn how everything works again if it was.
Going to go and have a
Which
look at
works.
what nonsense I'm going to equip.
Just don't know if Lyko's got that long enough range to join that combat, I'm afraid.
I'm sure he does.
Yeah, the sniper rifles are pretty good. Maybe not that good, to be fair.
If he's had those multi-destinational, pointings, open fire bulletin, opens his, shoots a couple.
I'm not entirely convinced that it's going to be necessary, but if it is, I'm sure we'll find some sort of way that I can swoop in and be the big damn hero.
We don't need a full sized like portal to get us through anyway. I just need it heat sized. I just need to be able to stick my heat through and I can make a wormhole. Right? I can just make a wormhole, whatever I can see. It's fine.
That's true. You only nearly need a window.
yeah.
How
I
many
just shove my
squares
heat
is
through
that?
it wormhole.
It's like, well, he can see 5 squares away, but it's about 4 billion trillion squares away. Yeah. Dear. Not to scale. So, yeah. Okay. Anything else, Weird?
I can't really think about anything else. It's just good to get back to it.
Yeah. And also, happy 100, buddy. Happy
Thank you.
100.
100 to you too.
Yeah. Thank you. I think on that note, I should probably just tell you guys that why don't we just go to 18 now instead of 16?
Okay.
I think we discussed this before, and we literally leveled up at 16 on the 100, so I feel like that can be the gift I was struggling to come up with. At least that way.
Yeah, I'm down.
Yeah, I think that makes...
Take it.
Yeah, I think also it just means that, we know that we are on ever-diminishing time, as it were, for our complement of players. So anyway, yes, Zig, speaking of...
Insults to humanity. Hi.
you're no so kids.
Yeah, no, it was really nice. It was great. I enjoyed all of Lyco's Dragon chats. That was just fantastic. It's I don't know. I always seem to enjoy the Lyco heavy sessions. It feels more like a true crime podcast.
To be fair, that is the spin-off show. This is just me and Colin just chatting in character as he wanders a space setting. Yeah.
I feel like we could do that with all of our characters. Just have like a half-an-hour segment of each of them talk about their nonsense specialist subject.
Yeah.
Great idea.
Probably. Yep.
I would listen.
I'll give you like a half-an-hour chat about wormholes, man. You'll fucking love it.
And their relation to fiend warfare. Yeah.
The relation to everything. Like the relation to everything, quite frankly.
Fair.
Wormholes are Crom, and like like the way like Conan sees Crom, like that's like Zora's like wormholes.
What a random reference, but I love it. Wormholes are Crom.
Oh,
yeah, sure.
Yeah, wormholes are Crom, man. He's out there everything, standing up on a mountain.
So we're definitely playing the Conan system next together, then, Nico. I'm assuming.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
I think that's on Alex's wish list as well at some point to play, is it not? The Conan system.
It hasn't been, but it is now.
I
don't think I've discussed Conan.
Weirdly, I thought you'd shared that at some point. The 2D20 Conan system with me, but maybe not. Maybe I think of something else.
I don't recall, but I share a great many role-playing systems.
Yes.
I find humorous.
In fact, you know what it was? See your sharing of your graphs of like popularity with all the colours, like the rainbow colours. It was one of those you shared, and it had Conan on it. That's what it was.
Wait. One of the furry charts.
No,
not one of the furry charts.
No, one of the other ones.
Statistics.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because
I was going to say, I don't think
as Conan fans.
Yeah, Chimerians count as
No, it was definitively separate from those other charts. I'm scrolling up to see if I can find said chart, 'cause I'm sure it was put in. There we go. So here we are. We've got these charts.
This is the important shit. We need to get this.
100%. It is. It's didn't play yet. It's filed under. Let me just paste this in. I'll repaste this into the chat. Bam. Jump back to present.
Aha.
Oh, it's your tiered round. Yeah, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, didn't play yet, and it's Conan, number 2. There you go. See? Understandably in the not interested pile. Yep. I think there'll be something joining it soon.
Demoted.
Yep. D for demoted. Yep. So anyway, besides that, Zig.
Oh, yes. I think I probably say this every time we do it, but it's always nice to kind of go through all the things that are actually happening and
what's in play.
What's in play and what's like actually trying to work out what our moves are going to be over the next few while. It's
I think as well, like moving to new allies and stuff and establishing who is on your side or who can be useful or whatever is quite tricky, and like filtering through game content you have been exposed to versus what you need to care about to solve your immediate problems. I think it's interesting because you definitely have obviously a 100 session history of stuff that you have done in the game, and a lot of that is useful to you. It's just finding the right bits to solve the problems.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember everything.
Oh God, yeah. It's tricky.
You've created a monster world here, or
Mhm.
system, I guess.
Yeah, I guess setting's the word I would use there, and yes, I agree totally. It's my most complicated story I've ever written, and I can all attest to that.
But yeah, as always, it's always been fun, and I can't wait to see what happens next time. And
Oh yeah, indeed.
actually level Zig up as well.
Yeah. Fairly significant jump as well, which is quite exciting.
Yeah, I think there's some scary things that mechanically
If you
come
weren't
into
scared of
play.
Zig already, strap in. Yeah. Also, happy 100, buddy.
Happy 100.
Yeah.
I can't believe we made it here. After all my naysaying.
Kicking and screaming, proverbially. Yeah.
That's it.
It's been a long road.
Should have seen me before we hit the go live button. Oh my goodness.
Yep.
You had to strap me down to this chair.
Yep.
That's got nothing to do with the game.
No.
No.
It's just a pastime of ours.
Yeah.
Live from the recording studio, nothing, because it's too X-rated. So, yeah. Thank you. Thank you for playing.
Thank you, Ryan.
X-rated
And thank you, team.
Yes, indeed. Lyko.
Lyco. Hello.
Hi.
Yes, that was a bit of a Lyco heavy one. Sorry. But
No,
you know,
don't be sorry.
No,
What?
apologise.
To be fair, it's why I tried to pull in the party.
Accept your apology.
Like for the, player agency moments and stuff, I think it is good to remind people that use can give each other suggestions, even if it's one particular character on the spotlight a bit.
yeah, there was definitely a lot of like trying to get back into what we know and what we need to know because it's been a little while.
Yeah, the warm up. Yeah.
And it is always good to have input from the team.
Yep.
Or Tema. Yeah, no, that was cool. I did have a lot of fun with it myself, and I'm glad it was
It was good.
fun for others.
Had a lot of fun
So,
being
yeah,
Mr.
like,
White Blossom. It was a fun exchange.
Just being back was great, and also like I wasn't quite sure what I was going to make of this guy, but it seems to be going pretty smoothly, and you sort of hope that maybe we're in a bit of a a timeline to get some stuff done with regards to why am I forgetting MO's name? MO next session. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, no, obviously I like playing Lyco, and I like playing Lyco doing Lyco shit. So yeah, that was fun for me. I'm glad it was for the others, and I did enjoy that little surprise at the end also. It was good. It was good to have like a bit of a aha. And you thought things were quiet on your end. Yeah, it was good. It was very cooperative, despite the fact it was Lyco heavy. Like, obviously, I think like we have gotten quite comfortable with just asking that shit now, which is great because I do think sometimes newer players don't necessarily have the comfort to do that, and they'll just do something, or they'll just not do something when they could simply talk about it.
Yeah. It's like people forget the positions they hold after long terms of like RP character justifications. You shouldn't just be a rando in a world if you've spent like 100 sessions in it, right? You should be noteworthy to a degree, depending on obviously a lot of the
Like, we can talk about all sorts of shit with each other, and like this, I think it went really well, and like, but also like we can talk to the characters. We can. There's no reason we can't like share the information that we have and barter it. It's not got to be tangible resources.
Yeah, because I mean, information's obviously very useful to certain people depending on what it is, right? Again, just being who you are, right? So you're a guy that died and didn't stay dead. That's important to a lot of people.
Even somewhat interesting.
Even this guy said he studied Barai to not really much success, but it was interesting enough for him to obviously have spent money on it, at least, or to like talk to the right people. You've got obviously Zig seems to be unstuck in time, whether or not that's a good or a bad thing, it's definitely an interesting thing. We've got an android on ascension to godhood, it seems. Just he will become the rules setting. Mhm.
I'm excited to see how you resolve that particular dilemma because, yeah, I have no idea what to do about the damn thing. Things even, but specifically the Daza one, like it is obviously. I think Weird really might be a solution, so that's pretty.
I genuinely think like Weird is probably in a better position because you can control within reason, I guess, that progression rather than relying on an external factor. Right?
Yes, we're not sort of hoping the NPC swoops in and does what we want them to.
Like you asked them, like, let's say Edgar was like the best candidate and able to do this, and all those caveats were like ticked. What if you just ran off with it or ate it? You know, like you don't have to worry about that with Weird instantaneously, at least. He has mentioned bombs and omelets enough that you might get a sentence before he does that.
We'd keep an eye on him, at least. That's for sure.
Another warning signs.
Yeah.
Just in case he doesn't get any crazy ideas.
You just need to get somebody to Dr. Crusher him enough to get Data's off switch location. That's what it is. So yeah, that's good though. As I said, I'm glad you made use of obviously people like Blossom, because I know that there's been times in the past where NPCs have been like, "Would you like to walk and talk?" And you're like, "No."
Yeah, specifically Emma, yeah.
Yeah, and her exact response was, "Fair enough." Just walks away. I loved that. But that's the thing. Like, I'm not here to force scenes upon you guys. I like when things happen to like my agenda, what I've written down. But at the same time, like ambushing you guys in the middle of space is easy, right? I can do that wherever you were flying if I needed her to track you down, because you're literally flying one of her ships. With Matfa, that is, not MO. So like, you've made that easy for me. If and when that came up, obviously she did make contact with Zora to give you a bit of a foreshadowing of that. So I'm quite excited to see how that goes down, because Zora is known for his successful diplomacy.
Make it easy for you.
Yeah, no, you've done well. You have done really well. So much so that it's obviously
all our shit gets done to the ship that fucks.
Yeah, I mean, you let Edgar modify a lot of it. You like Alice has tore most of it apart trying to fix Finn, right?
The final nail was weird.
Yeah. So like it's totally fine. You know, it's all good. It's all good. Anything else, Lyko?
No. I think I'm good. I'm gonna chew up more time.
Yeah, no, that's okay. And happy 100 to you too, buddy.
Happy 100.
Absolutely ridiculous. And as I said, I hope you enjoy the crown while it lasts of my longest exposure, I guess.
Yeah, no one man should have all that power.
No, it's mad.
I'm very glad you take on me.
It's crazy. As I said, it's probably by quite a significant number now, because I forget how quick just how much of the Wednesday game has flown in.
He was technically he was technically your longest standing member since 13th ended, really. Technically, they started this, right? Because, I mean, he already done more sessions in 13. No, well, done 5 less.
I was going to say, yeah, like
5 or 6 less sessions, I suppose. Yeah.
It was as soon as he took up the Wednesday game, he started to like zoom past you. That was it.
I missed a lot of sessions in 13th as well.
You joined about 2021.
Yeah.
You joined about 2021.
2021, and then it was like a couple I wasn't even there for as well.
But like it still ran till like 54, for example. And then obviously you had the 25 of Star Wars before that. So yeah, definitely some long-term exposure. Yeah. That's it. Happy 100 to you too. Thank you for playing, and Zora.
Hello. Yes, it was nice to see. I say, Lyko to pick up the weight of this session since we were off unfresh. Lyko seems to just do Lyko well. Dragon person was interesting. More forthcoming than I was expecting.
Well, I mean, given what he was saying in the scene where he's like, no, everything here is fine, like, nothing here will be weaponized against anybody here. Like, you've been welcomed as a guest, so I'm not going to just say, oh, he told me this and run off and then, like, mobilize an army because of it. Yeah, it was definitely trying to give away that vibe of, no, this is okay. Like, until we agree to exchange information, only then will it be used against each other. So
Mhm.
yeah, White Blossom is
That's-
definitely like a. I wanted to give him a very old and traditional vibe, kind of like, I guess vibe is the best word for that, really. Old and traditional vibe to the guy. Honourable, maybe, is a word. Yeah.
Mhm. And aye, it'll be interesting to see what happens with the old boss.
Yeah.
Mm. Mm.
We're collecting
Don't
it, that's for
know.
sure.
Same as the new boss, I'm informed.
Maybe. Maybe.
Yeah. Genuinely, when I was designing this game, never once put like more than like 5 minutes thought into Vesk politics until the game started. and then Vesk politics became the game. I was like, what the fuck? It's like, this is my own fault for suggesting space celebrity to you.
Space celebrity vest captain. I mean, it's
Mhm.
kind of probably going to happen at some point.
I enjoyed that there was a choice we made, because I know you picked, I think it was Soldier was the first theme that you'd suggested to me, and I was like, that sounds so boring. I was like, it's standard, but it doesn't feel captainy, if that made sense.
Yeah.
Obviously, I looked at Icon and I went, war hero. It has to be.
War hero works as well anyway, because I got all the soldiery stuff for it regardless. I can
Yeah.
basically literally just make my profession war hero, and then I can just say anything that I could have done as a soldier as well. Really.
Yeah.
Like,
Now,
simple
like,
enough.
it's some of the benefits, again, character building in this system is nice. It is nice. It's just then actually utilising that character is a nightmare.
Yeah.
So yeah.
They've got wee weird kinks, that's for sure.
And each to their own, no kink shaming here, even system wise.
Not just we should shame.
Fair. So yeah. Anything else, bud?
No,
Yeah.
it was good fun. Good to be back.
Indeed.
Good to be back.
Happy 100 to you as well.
Mhm.
Thank you for
Happy 100. Happy 100.
100. Crazy. Crazy to think this game would have lasted that long, considering when I bought this system, I was like, I'm buying it because it's kind of cool looking, and it was like reduced in price when I bought it. I was like, I don't intend to run this game. ... Most like complicated, most achieved game I've made in my life. Yeah. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Spike
even like-
rules, I know.
In spite of the system, yeah.
Yeah.
But maybe that's the trick, right? Pick a system you don't want to engage with, so you write better a story. Maybe that's how it
I've
works.
said that a million times, that they've made like a really good world with it, and the actual classes
Yeah.
are pretty cool. Like, it's just,
Yeah.
they
It's
take.
all of the rule stuff between little fluff
Yeah.
that kind of sucks.
Yeah. As I said, if I would do a season 2 to this game, depending on how this one ends, because as I said, there's some quite dramatic endings this one can take, as you are probably fully aware of. Yeah, like blowing up this universe is maybe like one of at least 7 options that are likely.
Yeah, but
and
established there's other universes, so we can do a season 2 in any of those.
true.
What we're going to do, right, is we're actually going to rewind time, and we're going to get the gap back, so we're actually just going to go back to the fantasy world.
I mean,
That's what's
fair.
gonna happen.
Yeah, like,
That's it.
yeah.
But with 4 sci-fi characters in it.
Yes.
And we shall be gods amongst them.
Until they start casting magic, I guess. Yeah.
Fuck it. We're magics as well.
Yeah.
Our
As I said-
magic's better.
Hopefully by the time season 2 even becomes a less than a fun joke that we share, if it ever became a reality, there's a better substitute system that we could use that would still deliver the same vibe of a character, I think, as the...
Yeah, like laser feelings.
I mean, Lasers and Feelings covers it in the sense that it doesn't, so you don't need to worry about it because it will cover none of it, other than you just say it does. But I feel like you could do it with any system, which is fair. So yeah, season 2, folks. Just saying, could still happen. Just gotta wait on that.
As long as I breathe.
I mean, don't put that kind of constraint on the game. That's true. But yes.
I'd be very upset if
Yeah,
I
we're not-
died
we're
and
not
you were like,
afraid
right,
to
season
recast
2's out.
I mean, hey, this might be the last session we get, guys, right? And if this is the end, well, I'm sure people could imagine a better ending than we'll do. So, good. Well done.
Yeah,
Matt was going to kill him.
Yeah, Mavi just kills everything. You just play Vesk, I guess, from that point on. Sure. I'm up for that. So yeah, thank you all for playing once again. We got to 100 guys. That's amazing. Genuinely is amazing. I didn't think I'd get this far. Say goodbye, everybody. Thanks everybody for watching.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.